basically we will be discussing about crude oil and natural gas trading among commodities, because these are the two commodities I generally focus on, and we'll just go ahead. So I've just given a brief about myself. Apart from that, okay, so I'll just tell you something about today's session. So one thing I just wanted to make clear, that today we will not be discussing any strategy per se. I will give all the brief that is required for getting started in commodity trading, and like whatever strategies you generally use in Nifty, Bank Nifty, and stuff like that, with a little tweaks. Just a moment.
We have to just bear with her because she has a young child. Huh?
Yeah, sorry, I just put off the video. We can continue. So last time it was fine, but she's a little cranky because she's not well. So I would, I can't help it.
Okay, no
so
issue.
Let's see.
Don't worry.
Okay, so yeah, that's about. So I will give a background of what all is required to get started, and you all can start using your existing strategies, or you can just observe like how they work with this. Whatever is the in all, like from A to Z, most of the things I'll be covering, what is required to get you started, and why you should trade commodities and stuff. But how you should trade, only the strategies part will not be covered. So I just wanted to make sure, that we are on the same page before starting. So yeah, so I will just start like why I chose trading. So I was having a good job, like I am having a good job, in fact, well paying and everything. And I was very much passionate about my career from the beginning. But then what happened, like when I was on, when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and when you have a lot of office load, and my profile was such that we did have, like, I was working as an IT solution architect. So we used to have deadlines, like when we have to submit the RFP or quotes to the client. And, it was a little hectic when you have to meet certain deadline. And we used to support like customers all across the globe. So there's no time per se, at times I used to have call with my managers at maybe 10 or 11, sometimes even at 2 midnight, to review some solution which I have prepared and stuff like that. So that time I thought, like I have talent, I am passionate, but then, uh, you know, serving each and everything will not be possible, like to work on ad hoc hours and stuff like that. Then when I had my daughters, I felt that even more. And money and other things I do have, but what I was looking for is financial freedom, basically. And second is the time independence which you get from trading. So that's the reason I thought, I thought of many other options, but then ultimately I thought there is no good option than trading, because it gives you all the other things, if you decide to quit at some point in time. So that's why I came to trading. Then, well, I'm still working, but let's see if it works well, then I may permanently switch future. Okay, just a moment, my slide. Just a moment, my slide is not.
Click now. Yeah,
Okay, fine. So, okay, so I believe whenever, you want to start something new, or you're looking for a change from the existing stuff, the important question which you need to ask yourself is why. Why will come first, because that's a problem statement in your life which you are looking to address. When you figure out why you want to do something else, eventually what you want to do, that what will get answered. And once you're sure what has to be done for that, you will figure out ways and means to do it. However tough it is, you will figure out the how it which has to be done. So that way, so initially I figured out my why I am not comfortable with the existing job and other things. Then what I can do, I started searching, and ultimately I landed at trading after trying a few things. And then eventually, like how I mean, currently, since I'm at home, I am trying all the stuff, but I am developing strategies more around passive trading, even in intraday stuff, so that, once I resume my office also, I'll be able to trade. And secondly, I have also started commodities a bit, because that can be done after the office hours. So it helps me in that way. So this is about the way I landed to commodity trading. Now, I just wanted to ask everyone, or like one or two folks, if you can tell me, like, are you a profitable trader by far? Uh, from how much you have traded till date?
So Kirti, I am not at all into this commodities. This is something new. But as far as equity is concerned, I am not a profitable trader. So I hope your session will cover about the basics of commodity trading, I guess. I'm
Yeah, it
sorry.
will
Yeah.
cover. No, not at all. Yeah, so even I was new, and everything uh, that lands at some great place was started at once. So one only start is required. When you
Okay.
start, you can achieve whatever miles.
So like
Yeah,
basic thing like what is the expiry, in the monthly,
yeah.
when is the
Basic,
expiry?
not just the basics, but a lot of in-depth things will be covered. Apart
Okay,
from the strategy, all the other things would be covered.
fine. Yeah, thanks, Kirti.
Yeah, just a minute.
Kirti, I also observed that when you do a intraday trading or when you do a smaller scale trading, smaller time frame, what happens ki you lose 2 days, you win 3 days, or you may lose 1 day, or you may win 4 days. All those combinations working, and overall end of the day or end of the week or even end of the month also, you are getting an average return. But when you are going for a passive strategy, which are well thought strategies, your return is much higher than your average return what you are getting. But the only issue is that you are not getting the thrill, or you're not that enjoying the every day you are making money. That thrill you are not getting. But if you compare your overall return in case of passive strategy is much higher compared to your day-to-day trading or scalping or all those types. That is my experience during last so many years. That is what I observed. And I'm also focusing only on the passive strategy. Yeah.
Right. So even I like I can explain it the way. See, if we have if we just imagine the office of Tatas and Ambani's, when they would be cracking even $1 million deal, they would be not very excited. They will tell, okay, we have cracked this deal and all. But if there is somebody who is gambling, and even if they win 1,000 rupees, they will immediately start shouting and other things, right? So when you have to make wealth, actually, it is a very boring business, and it's made in a slow and steady way only. When you are here for gambling or lottery and things like that, that time only there will be excitement. So the moment your trading gets boring, you would be very sure that you are on the right track.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, so even when I started initially, there were a lot of dents when I started. It didn't start as a very good journey, but one thing I have in me is, like, from the beginning itself, I'm very much like into cracking a lot of things. So I was thinking, well, I can do this, that, so many things. I topped in my school. I did this, I did that, I did so many achievements. Then what is so great in this that I can't do it? And that's the way I have held on to this thing. And yeah, so now at least I can say that I have started turning profitable. So okay, we'll move on to the next stuff. My slides are a little they are not, they're getting stuck. Just a minute. Okay, let's see, going ahead. So yeah, what's the definition of being a profitable trader? uh, so we all might have different definitions for being a profitable trader. Most of us would just look at the PNL and see the gross profit, whether we are profitable or not. But I will just throw some more lights on it, in my free time, when I was thinking over it, and what are my thoughts about it. So one is the gross profit. So when you check your Zerodha or Finvish or whatever statement, if you look at gross P&L, it should be in green. So this is the gross profit, which is the bare minimum requirement, which we all expect. Okay. If we look at NSE, they at gross profit level itself, they say that people are not in profit, like more than 90% of the traders, as per their report, which they had published recently. And on top of that, whatever loss they are making, so it's a gross loss, not a gross profit, but whatever losses they are making, in that losses also, again, around 70% is getting added to the losses, which is their brokerage taxes and other charges, you know. So on gross loss also, they are incurring more loss due to these things. So at this first instance itself, we are saying like less than 10% traders are reaching at gross profit level. Then the next would be a net profit. Like after the gross profit, they would minus the STT, brokerage, GST, and all whatever other transaction charges are there, and you would get a net profit. So once you are in gross profit, then you can aim for having a net profit. So when you have to become profitable, you know, you should make sure, like if you set up maybe 3 months or 6 months or whatever time, every month by month or every quarterly, you should at least move from one stage to another, so that you can be sure that you are on the right track. So steadily, you should go from one place to another. So then what is gross profit? Then it was net profit. Then we came to this, what Nitin Kamath of Zerodha had mentioned, that net profit beating the FD returns. So here we are saying that, just a minute. Okay, so here we are saying that actually whatever money we are having, we are putting it to use. Is my voice proper?
That's okay.
Okay, okay. So here we are saying like whatever money we are putting to use, basically that money, if we are not using it in trading and if we are keeping it in bare minimum, which is known as FD, then at least we should be able to beat the FD returns at the net profit level. So there was a statement from Nitin Kamath mentioning that net profit beating FD returns is achieved by less than 1% of active traders if you analyze it over a 3-year horizon. So here we are saying like less than 1% of the traders are reaching. So this is there. Even if you reach at this level, you are still not profitable. Why? Because even if you beat the FD returns, actually the money value is going down, because we are not able to beat inflation with the FD returns. FD returns are always lesser than the inflation. So even at this place, if you arrive, you are still, you know, going negative only. The money is depreciating, we can say. So the next level where you would aim to reach is, just a minute, my slide is getting stuck again. Let me see. Should I stop share and try to share again? Because my slide is getting stuck. Just a moment. I will just try again.
You can stop it and then start again.
Yeah.
No, Valaya ji, what the Kamath is telling, even the 90% are not able to meet the FD return. 99% of the active traders are not meeting even the FD return of 4%. That is what he is trying to say.
What Madam was telling, what I'm telling is only 10% are in the profit. So profit may be some people are only meeting the FD.
उस FD return में से भी, that means only 1% of the, that means 99% are not meeting the FD return. 90% are in any case they are in loss. Now along with the 90, another 9% are there who are not even meeting the minimum FD return also. That means we can say out of 100, only 1% is getting a return which is more than 4% or 5%.
Exactly.
1% हमारे ग्रुप में थे क्या?
हमारे ग्रुप में नहीं, ऑल ओवर इंडिया की
है। इवन पतारा जी initially
अरे यार तुम, मैं बता रहा हूँ, अपने ग्रुप में सिर्फ है ना वो आपका लीप बेच लो तो ही आपका 25% रिटर्न आ जाएगा. कुछ मत करो यार, ओनली लीप बेच लो. ओनली लीप बेच लो और कुछ मत करो, शांति से बैठे रहो. 25% रिटर्न साल के एंड में लेके निकल जाना आप.
पतारा जी initially I was actually too much this thing about the high return. So now I will be happy if I get 24%.
तो बोल दिया ना, फिर आप लीप बेचो ऑनलाइन, 25% रिटर्न आपको गारंटी से आएगा, और क्या चाहिए आपको?
ठीक है,
Sir,
ठीक है,
leap-
I am with
leap
you,
बेचने
obviously
में-
yes, no, but that is to set होना है, अभी तो शुरू किया है. I hope certainly we will be coming out with the colors.
हाँ, स्टार्ट
Let me
कीजिए,
see.
कीर्ति जी स्टार्ट कीजिए। या
सर वो अभी भी अटका है, लेट मी ट्राई अगेन, यू ऑल कंटिन्यू। मैं जैसे ही ये होता है ना प्रोसीड नेक्स्ट इस पे, आई विल जस्ट स्टार्ट।
तो आपका नेट का कुछ प्रॉब्लम है क्या?
नहीं, नेट का तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं लग रहा है, बिकॉज आई एम एबल टू हियर एवरीबॉडी एंड ऑल।
नहीं तो आप ऐसा कीजिए, आपका
स्लाइड
पावर
बंद
पॉइंट
करके चालू करती
नहीं,
हूँ,
या
या
एक
फिर
काम
एक
कीजिए,
बार
पावर पॉइंट मेरे को आप मेरे को भेज दो आप उस पे व्हाट्सएप पे, मैं पावर पॉइंट
Okay.
चला लेता हूँ आपका, देन यू कैन टॉक,
ओके ठीक है। ओके, जस्ट अ मोमेंट, लेट मी चेक वंस, अदरवाइज आई विल सेंड इट टू यू।
या वो भी कर सकते हो आप।
कोठारी सर, जो लीप आप बता रहे हैं, चाहे
हाँ।
उसमें पुट और कॉल का कोई भी रेशो ऊपर नीचे हो, लाइक पुट का रेट डबल चल रहा है
नहीं
और कॉल का हाफ है।
उसमें, हाँ भाटिया जी समझ गया मैं, उसमें आप क्या कीजिए, आप 3 कीजिए, आप 16,000, 17,000, 18,000, तो
ओके,
आपका जो टोटल, जो कॉल का टोटल पुट का जो प्रीमियम ऑलमोस्ट सेम आ जाएगा।
अच्छा
क्योंकि वो अभी क्या प्रॉब्लम है कि वो 16, 17, 17, 18, 19 जो है ना, 17,000, 18,000 और 19,000,
अच्छा
तो उनको तीनों को अगर करोगे तो जो कॉम्बिनेशन बन जाएगा ना, तो आपका रेंज बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा, प्लस
अच्छा।
आपका एवरेज अच्छा बढ़ जाएगा।
तो ये
मतलब
सर हमें सर दिसंबर 24 का लेना चाहिए क्या?
दिसंबर 23, दिसंबर 24 कोई भी ले लो, मैं तो दोनों ले रहा हूँ।
ओके, तो
मैं
उसमें
दोनों
सर
का
मार्जिन भी बहुत चाहिए होगा ना सर? मार्जिन भी तो करीब 9 लाख चाहिए होगा, 10
हाँ
लाख
तो
चाहिए
मार्जिन
होगा।
जो तो मेरे पर सारा इक्विटी मैंने निकाल दिया ना।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा,
मैंने
ओके
क्या
ओके
किया, मेरा इक्विटी मैंने 0 कर दिया, तो अभी मेरे को मार्जिन का प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है मेरे को।
ओके
और
ओके ओके।
मैं जा रहा हूँ टोटल पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी के ऊपर।
35
नहीं, पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी,
पैसे, ओके सॉरी।
टोटल पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी। एक बार ट्रेड ले लिया, उसके बाद में थोड़ा सा फ्यूचर में काम करता रहूँ, निफ्टी फ्यूचर में करता रहूंगा मैं, और
ओके,
मेजर
ओके।
रिटर्न जो आएगा वो लीप से आएगा, और
ओके।
निफ्टी फ्यूचर और बैंक निफ्टी फ्यूचर से मेरे को उसका तड़का मिलता रहेगा।
बेसिकली वो आप उसमें ट्रेडिंग करते रहेंगे,
उसमें ट्रेडिंग करते रहेंगे, और इसमें से मेरे को बड़ा पैसा आएगा जो मुझे सपोर्ट कर रहा है मेरे निफ्टी फ्यूचर को।
ओके, ठीक है
Nice.
ठीक
This
है।
setup
तो इस तरह से मैं प्लान कर रहा हूँ।
5, 6, 7, Kotara ji, your 5, 6, 7 setup looks promising. Let us see what markets, उसको भी पलटी करता है कि देखिए।
अरे मार्केट ठीक है, अभी मार्केट वो बता रहे, मतलब 80% टाइम मार्केट जो है आपका इस साइडवे में चलता है, 80% ऑफ द टाइम। अगर आप पूरे 10 साल का 20 साल का डेटा निकालो ना, तो आप देखोगे कि इनवेरिएबली इट इज ऑन साइडवे मूवमेंट। ये इतना जो ट्रेंडिंग नीचे या ऊपर जा रहा है ना, दिस गिव्स अ ह्यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी टू यू। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम इसी में डर जाते हैं।
No, we shall focus on 5, 6, 7 setup. Let us see.
हाँ, तो वो थोड़ा फोकस करके करोगे तो अच्छा पैसा आएगा।
और सर ये
अब
जो
आज
आपने
कीर्ति चालू हुआ
इसका सर स्ट्राइक प्राइस बोला 16, 17,
नहीं
18,
17, 18, 19, 17, 18, 19,
17,
17, 18, 19, 17, 18, 19,
ओके।
16 का तो चांसेस बहुत ही कम है। अगर हो तो
अरे
16 का
कोठारी जी,
पुट बाई
मैंने
कर लेना,
जून का
16 का अगर चाहो ना तो पुट बाई करके रख लो।
ओके ओके।
हाँ, 16 और 15 का पुट बाई कर लो तो बहुत ही सेफ हो जाओगे यार।
नहीं, जून के लिए हम
कोठारी जी,
17,
एक चीज है,
16, 17, 18 जाएंगे जून के
17,
लिए।
18, 19 या
जून के लिए
मैं तो
16,
जून का
17,
लिया।
18।
कोठारी जी, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट, मैं तो जून का लिया था लीप। हाँ,
हाँ।
तो वो तो 1-1.5 महीना पहले हो गया, अभी वो एक्चुअली लॉस में चल रहा है कि
अरे
10,000
तो
और
कोई बात नहीं ना, मैं वही बता रहा हूँ मैं,
हाँ।
कोई बात नहीं, जस्ट वेट करो थोड़ा। अभी पहले हमने डिस्कस किया था, यू कैन बुक द प्रॉफिट इन द कॉल साइड एंड यू कैन बुक द प्रॉफिट इन द पुट लॉन्ग साइड आल्सो। थोड़ा सा वेट करो, मार्केट हैज टू रिवर्स, स्टिल वी हैव अ 2-3 मंथ टाइम, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट।
और उसको तो ट्रस्ट नहीं करने का ना, मतलब लीप
हाँ।
को जून का जो लिया, जून का जो 18,000 लिया उसको तो ट्रस्ट नहीं करने का।
नहीं, उसमें प्रॉफिट बुक करो ना आप कॉल में।
ओ अच्छा अच्छा, आज सेम अच्छा अच्छा, मान लीजिए
हाँ,
एक जा रहा है 500, एक जा रहा है 900, ठीक है।
हाँ, तो 18,000 में प्रॉफिट बुक करके 17,500 पे लेके आ जाओ, 17,500 पे लेके आ जाओ उसको आप कॉल को।
ओ अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है, वही करता हूँ।
हाँ, तो उसमें क्योंकि उसमें तो बहुत कम बच गया ना अभी, तो अभी उसको रखे रहोगे तो कितना और ज्यादा मिलेगा, 20-30 रुपए मिलेगा। इससे बढ़िया है कि हम 500 रुपए प्रॉफिट बुक कर ले और उसको वापस 500 रुपए पे लेके आ जाए। दैट विल गिव मच बेटर रिटर्न।
मैडम का स्लाइड
ओ
हाँ,
हाँ,
चालू मैडम।
ये कर सकते हैं बैलेंस करने के लिए। मान लीजिए
या बाद में बात करते हैं, अभी मैडम को चलने दो। हाँ मैडम, स्टार्ट कीजिए।
अच्छा ठीक है,
Okay.
बाद में आपसे पूछूंगा।
तो हाँ, तो वी जस्ट डिस्कस्ड, वन इज इवन इफ वी बीट एफडी रिटर्न्स, हमारा नेट वैल्यू डिप्रिशिएट होगा ऑफ मनी बिकॉज इन्फ्लेशन इज मच हायर. So then we should aim for having a net profit which is beating inflation. So if we are at this like fourth point where I have mentioned, so if we are at this level, then we can say we are at, our wealth is still at the same level. It is neither appreciating nor depreciating. So this would be a cost to cost scenario, we can say. Now, we all have many expenses, like we take iChat subscription, Sensible, Opstra subscriptions, then we pay for internet. Sometimes we go to attend some conclaves and events like that. We pay for phone bill. So actually, this is also an expense, right? So even this, so the next stage would be to have a net profit, which is beating inflation and which is arrived after deducting all your expenses, whichever you incur for your trading business. So this would be the next level. I don't know how many people are reaching here. So currently I can say, I'm somewhere between the 4th and the 5th point in terms of profitability. But this is still not the complete picture, because there is something else to it. So we are moving to the next step. Okay, again, it is getting stuck. So, sir, I will just check. I'm just trying to share my PPT with you also, so that if it is stuck, you can put it at your place.
No, but
So next,
I have never faced this issue that PPT getting stuck. I don't know what is. Okay.
I don't know. Otherwise, I will try sharing only one this thing PPT rather than sharing the entire screen. Let me try that also.
Okay.
Mm.
Meanwhile, you can send it to me also.
Yeah. Just a moment. So yeah, while I'm trying to share, I will just go to that point. Otherwise, we would be very much late.
Yeah.
Just a moment.
Or you can keep talking and then you can send it.
Just a minute. I'm checking it.
Anish is mentioning, can you reboot your laptop otherwise? But then it will take 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, let me try.
And what you do, you share the full screen. Don't go by that bullet to bullet.
Okay. So if it is getting stuck now, I will try that.
Yeah. Now go.
So
Just working.
okay. So after beating FD returns, next point would be you should beat the inflation after deducting the expenses, whatever we just talked about. But then you should also be able to give yourself the salary, right? Earlier, when we talked about beating FD returns, it was about the opportunity cost of the capital that you are employing here. But because the capital would be at least in FD, if it is not there in a trading account. Now we are talking in the 6th point that if you are doing trading, right, leaving your existing job, then the salary is not coming from your job. So it has to come from somewhere, because this is the opportunity cost of labor, which you are, you are putting your time here. So that salary, the bare minimum, what you are achieving from your job, should come from trading. Only that at that point of time, you can think that, okay, by your trading, you are at the same level, or you can maintain the same lifestyle which your job was giving you. So this is the 6th point, and I have not yet reached here, and I don't know how many people successfully reach here. If you look at Twitter, you will feel that everybody is at this stage, but in the reality, I don't know how many people are arriving to this 6th point. So currently, I'm just
exception है, sorry to interrupt. कोठारी जी है ना, वो बहुत ऊपर चले गए.
No, by the time the 6th point will come, it will be 0.001%.
Seriously, I think that. So after you are at this 6th point, then you should be, more focusing on not getting higher returns, but more focusing on consistently achieving this stage. Because there are some people, who have a very aggressive style of trading, and at sometimes they will achieve the 6th point, but in some month they will not even achieve the 1st point, because they will not have consistency due to their aggressive nature. So then once you are at 6th point, you should make sure that you are able to beat it significantly and consistently, and then you are able to compound your wealth. So this is the final definition of being a profitable trader. So I tried multiple times, and I am somewhere around this 4th, 5th point, the way I mentioned. Or you can say 4th point only at this stage. And, I was checking, like, even if you get a 4% monthly return, which you can say from your trading. After that, there are so many expenses. Then again, there would be, if you do too many adjustments, because generally, if you are a very conservative trader, probably you will have to do a lot of adjustments so that you never get into MTM losses. And if you do that, then again, your brokerage and taxes will be higher. So, if you look at all the other things, you will feel that making 4 or 5% a month also is not so lucrative that you can quit your job or things like that, So you need to move to the next level. Now, I tried everything in equity markets, and there also I figured out that somehow I'm just comfortable with indices, not stocks, because they give wild swings and wild moves. And then I started venturing into other bits and pieces like currency and commodities and things like that. So why I landed at commodity? Because there I'm able to use my, so even now, if you ask me, I mostly focus on intraday trading, because these days gaps are, huge, and they are very less favorable, and most of the times they are not favorable. Like if you see market rallying today, tomorrow it will probably open a gap down. If it closes with a, at the lowest point of the day, it might open gap up. So I don't prefer taking overnight positions. I mostly trade intraday. And then if I trade intraday, like I have at least 5-6 accounts, and in that more than 50% of the accounts would be used for intraday trading. Like in one, I might have Nifty, in the other bank Nifty, in the other Fin Nifty, or things like that. So if I'm using for intraday, then that capital is lying idle, right? So then I thought I can try commodities in that, because then it is open for a wider time, right? And then I can add up to my profit so that I can go a little higher. Because
Kirti, 1 minute. Kirti, 1 minute. Yeah. Now, I just want to ask from a member who is reaching point number 7.
So anybody? not me, definitely. So they
any of the member?
I don't think anybody will be there. I don't think.
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
कोई शायद कोई भी नहीं होगा.
नहीं
सिर्फ कोठारी जी होंगे मेरे को लगता
है. नहीं कंसिस्टेंटली मतलब 3 साल 4 साल 5 साल 7 साल का एवरेज करिए ना.
नहीं चलिए ये मान लीजिए बॉटम लाइन के ऊपर. चलिए अब चलो पिछले साल का दे देते हैं 22 23.
फिर तो आप ही होंगे. फिर आप
23 अभी अपना खत्म होने वाला है. ठीक है, मार्च हार्डली 3 दिन बचा है. 23 में who will be meeting item number 7 और item number 6? अगर नहीं हो रहा है ना, इशू ये है कि मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि अपने को बोलना है नहीं बोलना है. व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, अगर ये नहीं हो रहा है देन वी हैव टू इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कि हमें क्या करना है.
वो बात जरूरी है.
आर वी रियली, मतलब वी शुड कंटिन्यू टू डू व्हाट वी आर डूइंग और वी शुड चेंज अवरसेल्फ. दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. जो हम
वी शुड कंटिन्यू विद चेंज स्ट्रेटजी.
हाँ, देन हमको थोड़ा सोचना पड़ेगा कि यार ये स्ट्रेटजी जो मैं कर रहा हूं मैं, या जो रोज मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, इज इट रियली वर्थ और नॉट, और आई एम जस्ट स्पेंडिंग द टाइम एज वेल एज माय मनी आल्सो. मतलब कैपिटल भी कम कर रहा हूँ और मेरा टाइम भी पूरा खराब कर रहा हूँ. so that you have to make a real introspection and take a decision कि मुझे आगे क्या करना है. नया साल 1 अप्रैल से स्टार्ट हो रहा है. लेट अस सीरियसली थिंक एंड देन डिसाइड. जो अगर वो चीज अगर 5 साल से अगर आपको रिटर्न नहीं आ रहा है तो आपको थोड़ा चेंज करना ही पड़ेगा. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि मैं इक्विटी से क्यों निकल गया. मैं जैसे मैडम भी, वो कीर्ति भी बोल रही है, वो इंडिसेस में काम कर रही है. अपने ये शर्मा जी हैं, सोम प्रकाश जी भी रिकमेंड कर रहे हैं कि आप सिर्फ निफ्टी में काम करो या बैंक निफ्टी पे काम करो. तो ये कंक्लूजन निकल के आ रहे हैं कि हम कहाँ फंस रहे हैं और कैसे हम उसको वहां से निकलना है. तो दैट इंट्रोस्पेक्शन आप करोगे तो हो सकता है कि यू विल बी एबल टू रीच आइटम नंबर 7 at least during the next year.
But Kothari ji, one correction in your talk that you have not left RDCS equity.
नहीं, वो निकल जाऊंगा. I am fed up because मैंने SBI और रिलायंस रियली मतलब आई एम नॉट हैप्पी. विप्रो में, रिलायंस और SBI तीनों में, टाटा मोटर में आई गॉट अ गुड प्रॉफिट, बट इन तीनों में भी फंसा हुआ हूं मैं. आई हैव अ कॉन्फिडेंस कि भाई मार्च इसमें से प्रॉफिट आ जाएगा, मुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बट इशू ये है कि यार मैं क्यों फंसू ऐसी चीजों के अंदर. तो आई एम नाउ प्लानिंग टू कम आउट टोटली इवन फ्रॉम द स्टॉक्स आल्सो. तो ये जो अपना इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करना है, इशू ये है कि प्रॉफिट हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा, वो तो सेपरेट मैटर है. पहले आप ये सोचो कि हुआ क्या है और क्यों हो रहा है और क्या हमें करना है. दैट इज व्हाट आई एम गिविंग थॉट प्रोसेस टू यू. जो कीर्ति ने जो बताया, इट्स रियली आई ओपनिंग मतलब स्लाइड है ये, कि हम जो ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट में जो अपना ग्रीन आता है ना, वो जीरोधा वाला वहां फोकस करते हैं. बट ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट के बाद तो आप देखिए कितने पॉइंट और हैं. क्या हमारा टाइम का वैल्यू मिल रहा है, क्या क्या हमारा इतना सारा इतना काम कर रहे हैं उसका कुछ हमें रिटर्न आ रहा है क्या? अगर नहीं है तो फिर हमें कुछ चेंज करना पड़ेगा, और नहीं है तो फिर ये बंद ही कर दो, पैसे को जाके एफडी में डाल दो। कम से कम एफडी में अभी तो 8% रिटर्न आने लग गया। अगर मान लो आपको लग रहा है कि यार अगले साल भी ये नहीं कर पाऊंगा, तो बेटर क्लोज योर ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट, ओपन एन एफडी एट 8%, 8.5 सीनियर सिटीजन को मिल रहा है, वहां जाके पैसा डालो, कम से कम गारंटी तो रहेगा, एंड एंजॉय योर लाइफ। दैट इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू से। क्या कीर्ति?
नहीं, कोई और था।
हाँ बोलिए।
कोठारी सर, मैं केवल OWS ही कर रहा हूँ लास्ट 3 ईयर से। 18 to 20% का रिटर्न है सर, एक भी लॉट फंसा हुआ नहीं है।
वेरी गुड, वेरी
बोलेंगे
गुड।
तो मैं अपना अकाउंट दिखा सकता हूँ सर।
नहीं, अगर आप एक वही बता रहा हूँ ना, आपने एक इंट्रोस्पेक्ट
किया सर, और कुछ भी नहीं किया, जो आपने बताया बस वही। बट
या
मैंने स्ट्रेटजी कभी ज्यादा चेंज नहीं किया।
What is that? OWS.
OWS.
Option wheel strategy.
Option wheel. This is one of the fantastic strategy. There's no doubt about it. अगर आप कंसिस्टेंटली फॉलो करें, एक और रामाकृष्ण जी हैं, मतलब वो बैंगलोर से हैं, वो भी ही इज फॉलोइंग, नहीं थोरट, he is also following the same OWS strategy and he is getting return of around 20 to 25% return. तो आपको कोई भी स्ट्रेटेजी लेना है, उसको इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करना है, and then you have to see whether it's really feasible to you or not. Are you making the money to you or not? That is what we have to think.
बस घुसने की हड़बड़ी नहीं करनी है सर, मिल जाता है बहुत अच्छा।
तो वही डिसिप्लिन ही तो है ना। डिसिप्लिन अगर कर लिया तो आप तो वैसे ही पैसा कमा जाएंगे। ठीक है, प्रॉब्लम है कि हमको ईचिंग होती है। मेजर प्रॉब्लम जो मैं देख रहा हूँ वो ये है कि हमको रोज सवेरे जो है बस वो कुछ ना खुजली होता है कि यार ये ट्रेड कर लो, वो ट्रेड कर लो, उधर से टिप आ गया, उधर से वो मैसेज आ गया, एंड देन वी डू ए ट्रेड, एंड देन इन द इवनिंग पूरा दिन लगाते हैं, और एंड ऑफ द डे पता चलता है कि आप लॉस में निकले, तो क्या मतलब है करने का? दैट इज व्हाट। चलिए, क्या मैडम?
तो इवन के ऊपर एक क्लास होना चाहिए, ठीक है? आई एम नॉट क्लियर अबाउट दैट, जस्ट हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट।
ओके विल हैव, या चलिए।
ओके, तो या सो एक्चुअली बीच में लाइक मेरा भी वो कोरोना के टाइम पे ब्रेक था, देन अगेन ऑन मैटरनिटी लीव एंड ऑल द ब्रेक्स। तो यू नो इवन आई वाज लाइक at one point in time I was thinking, okay, I will quit my job because I am net profitable and I will think, you know, to become a full-time trader and things like that. But before taking such a big decision, you have to introspect, right? So when I started thinking around it, so many points came up, and then I you know, came to a conclusion that no, this is not the correct stage wherein I can take this decision at this point in time. और हम लोग देखेंगे तो market dynamics also keep changing, right? पहले जो traders अगर किसी का interview सुनेंगे, they used to say when FNO started recently, like earlier when it had started, when it was very new, it was not the people's skill, but it was because of the market inefficiencies and other things that they used to make a lot of profit, like due to mispricings and many other things, right? मतलब पहले तो लोग ऐसे overnight straddles बेच सकते थे, strangles ऐसे ही बेच देते थे naked में, और फिर भी पैसा आ ही जाता था, leverage भी बहुत ज्यादा था। तो even market dynamics keep changing, so even now if you have something, you will have to constantly keep evolving. जैसे जैसे market dynamics change होगा, why it changes? Because पुराने players जाते हैं, many new players come in. Now whoever are the new people, their thought process of trading will be much different than who are you know, who were playing it earlier. Now when algos come in again, there would be a lot of variations which would come into the market behavior. तो वो सब चीजें भी adopt करनी पड़ेंगी हम लोगों को. That is why we say that when we analyze it over a bigger picture, like over a larger time frame, 3-4 years, तब आपको पता चल जाता है कि इतने 3-4 साल में अगर इतने चेंजेस हुए, बट उतने टाइम तक भी आप टिके रहे कंसिस्टेंटली, इट मींस दैट यू आर कॉन्स्टेंटली इवॉल्विंग, बिकॉज मार्केट विल नॉट रिमेन स्टैग्नेंट, राइट? In Tatas they say like change is the only constant, that is their slogan. So with markets it will always be true, and even in your strategies it has to be, otherwise it will get obsolete with time, the way Kodak went away, you know, when smartphones came in and all things like that. So that way you have to keep evolving. So that was about it. So when I thought over it, I thought, okay, I'm making maybe 4-5% a month from equities, but it is still not enough, because I'm not able to achieve wherever I want to. And at one point in time, if you think like with the same inputs, you keep refining, but you are not able to achieve the results, it means that the input needs to be changed. You know, you need to change something in the input so that you get a better output, because with the same inputs, you are not getting it. So actually, that's why, you know, after you analyze your performance, maybe quarterly, half yearly, whatever, but then go back and just introspect, like whether it is progressing or not, and what can be done, you know, to enhance it. So this was about it.
नहीं, मेरा एक थॉट प्रोसेस है मैडम, एक मिनट ना,
हाँ हाँ श्योर.
आपने जो अपना हिस्ट्री बताया अभी कि दैट यू आर डूइंग अ जॉब, then you went for a leave, then you are introspect, you are thinking कि whether you should leave the job and come to a full time trading.
Right.
ठीक है. अभी ये जो full time trading का जो word चल रहा है ना, this become very fascinating word for the younger world, for the younger generation.
Right.
Well, so many public feel so happy कि I am a full time trader, but I am just trying to say कि I have worked 40 years in the corporate life. Even when I was working in the corporate life, I was doing the trading also, part-time trading, I used to do it. And then after the corporate life, for last 3 years, I am doing a full-time trading. Now, what I have realized, the full-time trading is just a waste. Just a waste. Huh? It is just a, you can say, glorified word कि I am a full-time trader. But ये एक बेवकूफी है बहुत बड़ी. I will strongly suggest to you and to the younger generation, continue to do your job and deploy your passive strategies. पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी में इतना पैसा आता है ना, वो एक तो आपको एक्टिव फुल टाइम ट्रेडिंग में नहीं आएगा, कभी भी नहीं आएगा. आप गवर्नमेंट को पैसा दे रहे हो, एक्टिव ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, तो आप अपने ब्रोकर को पैसा दे रहे हो, फुल टाइम ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, तो लेकिन जब पैसिव ट्रेडिंग करते हो तो पैसा आपको पैसा बना के दे रहा है, ट्रेडिंग आपको पैसा बना के दे रहा है. तो मेरा जो सजेशन है, और व्हाट आई एम रियली फीलिंग नाउ, कि इफ आई स्पेंड लेस टाइम ऑन द लैपटॉप डूइंग द ट्रेडिंग, आई विल मेक मच मोर मनी देन व्हेन आई एम डूइंग द फुल टाइम ट्रेडिंग. So my submission to you and submission to others is, never think about leaving your job and coming for a full time trading. आप full time trading करोगे, आपको ईचिंग स्टार्ट हो जाएगा मॉर्निंग से, आप इतने उल्टे सीधे ट्रेड करोगे, then you will end up in the real मतलब रियल लॉसेस ही आपको होने वाला है. इससे बढ़िया है 2-4 स्ट्रेटेजी लो, लंबा टाइम वाली पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी ले लो. आपने 3 महीने का एक ले लिया, 6 महीने का ले लिया, साल भर का ले लिया, और शांति से बैठ जाओ. उसमें जो रिटर्न आएगा ना, वो आपको कहीं रिटर्न आने वाला नहीं है. और जॉब का जो प्रोटेक्शन आपको मिलता है ना, यू आर आई ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू से कि आई एम अ सन इन लॉ ऑफ माय कंपनी. एज आई गॉट माय जॉब इन HPCL, आई बिकम अ सन इन लॉ ऑफ HPCL ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. यानी कि गवर्नमेंट मेरे को अगले 40 साल तक मेरे को जो है पैसा देती रहेगी, चाहे मैं काम करूं या ना करूं, या कम करूं या ज्यादा करूं. तो वो जॉब छोड़ने का मेरे हिसाब से तो मतलब फुल टाइम ट्रेडिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है. और जैसे आपने बताया कि यू आर इन कमोडिटी, और कमोडिटी यू कैन डू इवन आफ्टर ऑफिस आवर्स आल्सो. ओके, so just think over it before anybody is planning to become a full time trader. I have lived this last 45 years. 40 साल मैंने वो किया, रिटायरमेंट के बाद में 3 साल मैंने किया. It is not worth doing the full time trading. You will make much more money in the passive strategy and focus in your job. मेरा जो पहले वाले 2-3 प्रेजेंटेशन में उसमें ये बोला कि काम करो आप अपना नौकरी में, अपने बिजनेस में, and don't give that money to the market. नहीं तो अभी क्या हो जाएगा कि वहां पैसा कमाओगे और यहाँ मार्केट को पैसा देके चले जाओगे. पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी करोगे, वहां भी कमाओगे, यहाँ भी कमाओगे. योर लाइफ विल बिकम मच मोर इजी एंड मच मोर पीसफुल. दैट इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू से. चलिए, if anybody want to share.
Yeah sir, I just want to add one thing. Ma'am, if you can go into the previous slide.
Yeah, कीर्ति थोड़ा
हाँ, एक मिनट में चेक करती हूँ पीछे कैसे जाना है. आई एम नॉट श्योर.
Just press the down arrow.
Down arrow or only the page of page down.
एक मिनट. डाउन एरो से तो नहीं हो रहा है. पेज डाउन, आई विल चेक.
Okay, fine, that's okay ma'am. Yeah sir, see, basically I am into an active job, right? And I have started trading because being into a private job, there is no retirement security or anything. Correct. So that is what I am building, and I just want to make one thing clear that yes, शुरुआत में अगर आप second, third या fourth point पे है, या आप सिर्फ profit level के FD से भी कम returns आ रहे हैं, I am okay with it because I have brought a very limited capital with a view that I am going to spend 4 years at least. I am going to give it so that I can develop my skills. So that is the cost of education that I am I am coming with. So even if I am not profitable for the first 4 years, it's just like taking an example that अगर मुझे engineering करनी है तो 4 साल मुझे वहां पे करना पड़ेगा, पढ़ाई करना पड़ेगा, और मैं वहां पे कुछ कमाने नहीं वाला हूँ. So that is the cost of education as well that right now I am giving. But yes, after 4 years, either तो 20 lakhs rupees बचेंगे मेरे पास, या तो I will be fed up that I am not able to make money, and I will keep on doing my job and keep on investing in the MF. So I have not broken the cycle of my mutual funds investment right now. I have a fixed capital that I have brought, and I'm looking forward for this. I'm taking up this as a cost of education. So when we are new for 3 to 4 years, it may be possible that you may not be profitable, but I'm okay with it. So that is my thought process. So just if you want to add one more point, we can add this perception as well.
नहीं, लेकिन देखिए आप सदा एक चीज को सदा याद रखो आप कि यू आर टेलिंग की दैट मैं 4 साल का एक एजुकेशन का कॉस्ट है मेरा ट्रेडिंग का, बट आप ये सोचिए कि आप किससे फाइट कर रहे हो। आप यू आर फाइटिंग विद द FIIs और DIs हु हैव मिलियंस एंड मिलियंस बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर, उनसे आप जाके फाइट कर रहे हो आप। तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि इज इट वर्थ इशू, ये आपको ये देखना है कि इज इट द वर्थ वेदर यू विल बी कंसिस्टेंटली एबल टू बीट दोस फेलोज जिनके पास मतलब तो दूसरों का पैसा है उड़ाने के लिए। हमारे पास तो वो पैसा नहीं है ना। आज एक म्यूचुअल फंड वाला अगर 100 करोड़ का लॉस भी करेगा तो उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, उसको तो बोनस मिलेगा, उसको उसकी सैलरी मिलेगी, उसको उसके जो है वो फैट बेनिफिट्स मिलते रहेंगे। लेकिन आपका और मेरा क्या होगा? तो मेरा सबमिशन यही था कि फुल टाइम ट्रेडिंग अगर आपको लेना है ना, यू शुड थिंक 10 times और आई विल से 100 times, इज इट रियली वर्थ और नॉट, इज इट रियली वर्थ और नॉट। आप उससे ज्यादा नहीं, मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, आप उससे ज्यादा पैसा कमा सकते हो अगर आप पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी लेते हो। आपको
वेरी ट्रू सर, वेरी ट्रू।
पैसिव स्ट्रेटेजी लो और काम वही करो जो आप कर रहे हो आप।
वेरी ट्रू,
क्योंकि आप कल को बीमार भी होंगे, कल को आपको और कोई इमरजेंसी भी आएगा, फिर ट्रेडिंग अगर नहीं कर पाए तो क्या करोगे आप?
Very true, sir. I am not pitching for the full time trading. I was just like बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग होंगे जो कि शायद 2 to 3 years यहाँ पे होंगे और 3rd 4th point पे होंगे, right? So I am just this is my view point कि cost of education की तरह इसको ले लो।
हाँ वो ठीक है,
मायूस होने की जरूरत नहीं है।
चलिए कीर्ति जी चलिए।
Got it. ठीक है, we'll move ahead.
So think over it before taking a final decision. That is what I wanted to say to you. Okay, चलिए। Yeah.
Okay. Yes. एक मिनट। Okay, so then why commodity trading? So the way we mentioned, commodity trading actually, if you look at it, since it is traded globally, it actually trades 23 hours a day. At least I can say that for crude and natural gas. I don't know much about other commodities, but they trade 23 hours a day. So it's just a 1 hour gap in between that is there.
And gold silver also, na? Gold silver also.
I think so, but I'm not very sure because I trade in crude and natural gas only, so I cannot comment on others.
Gold, silver, and gold and silver also. They trade the 23 hours. Yeah.
So that is one. Next point, since it is traded globally, it cannot be manipulated easily. So recently, when we have recently when we are looking at Nifty, Bank Nifty, we can sense that since most of the people now know price action, rather than a breakout or a breakdown, it mostly gives a fake out and a fake down, fake moves it gives, and then it continues it immediately reverses after giving a breakout, or after giving a breakdown again it immediately reverses. It breaks the day high and day low on the same day, right? So this is pure manipulation that is coming in. But commodity trading cannot be manipulated this way because people across the globe are trading it. So a handful of operators cannot do anything to it. So this is one more benefit of it. Then price action, technical analysis, demand supply, all these things will work very well in commodity trading. Why? Because it is trading 23 hours, right? Whatever charts you are getting, it is almost a continuous chart. Because whatever news will be coming in, like FOMC meeting is there, whatever initial jobs data is there, Fed hike is there, whatever is there, when commodity market is trading, all the news come in, and so it immediately gets absorbed and everything gets recorded in the price actions. So gaps would be very less. Globally, if you look at it, obviously in India, since it is not trading 24 hours, it will have a little gaps, but even then that gaps will not be so wider the way you witness it in equity markets. So that's why price action, technical analysis, demand supply, all these things will work a lot better in commodity trading. Then we will say that in India, if we specifically talk about it, whatever volumes is there in the equity markets or Nifty, Bank Nifty, we can say, uske comparison mein, I think not even 10% or 5% volume would be there in commodities currently. Okay, so that the reason also for this is because it requires a huge capital, or maybe there is a little lack of awareness. So since it is not widely known to people and it is having comparatively lesser volumes, the premiums I feel are comparatively higher. Because from the time I started looking at commodities, I have witnessed, like, as the months pass on and as the volumes are going on increasing, the premiums are also gradually decreasing. So because if you look at Nifty, Bank Nifty right now, you will feel that the premiums are so minuscule compared to what moves they are giving, two-way, three-way moves they are giving, and your straddle will not have any premium. So the edge, what was there for option sellers, is going away, we can say, almost. So, but with commodities, that is still not the case. There is a good amount of time still left when it will be widely, traded by people, and the edge will go away. So currently, we can say there is still a lot of edge left in it. Then that's where I was saying that we can take the advantage before competition kicks into commodity trading also. Because if you listen to old interviews of famous traders like, maybe even IT Jagan or PR Sundar or other people, they will say that, initially it was so easy to make money, but the more and more people get into it and the more and more algos also come into it, it becomes even more difficult to make money. So that's why commodities is still less explored, and it has a good chance of making money. The other thing also which benefits me is, during the day, whenever I trade equity markets, sometimes, see, your brain has a very limited capacity as to how much things it can hold at a given point in time. You take 2 or 3 wrong decisions, and then your brain, is completely hijacked by those wrong trades. At such a time, if you go and trade more, it will be more of revenge trading, and ultimately it would, mostly go and end in loss only. Because you won't have the risk-taking appetite to keep a proper SL, since you have already lost. And if you get out with a small SL, again, it will add to your losses. So all this revenge trading, over trading, that I'm somehow able to control, because when my equity, like, I have maybe 2 or 3 losses during my equity trading session, then I think, okay, that's all. Whatever loss I have, I will try to recover it in the commodity session or through commodity trading. So this way, I'm able to overcome my over trading and revenge attitude also during the day. So it helps me in that fashion as well. Then there are multiple types of commodities. We will be discussing about it more going forward. So since there are multiple types of commodities, again, there you have a lot of options, to choose from. Like here in indices, we just have Nifty, Bank Nifty, and Fin Nifty. But in commodities, you will have a lot of options to choose from, which commodities you are comfortable with. So next will be, there are variable lot sizes in the same instrument if we talk about. Like if we say gold, earlier it started with gold trading, but it requires very huge capital. So gold mini was introduced. Then gold guinea was introduced. Then gold petal was introduced. So gold petal is the least size, we can say. And gold is the highest size, lot size, which is available for gold trading. So similarly, in crude also we have crude mini. In natural gas, we have natural gas and natural gas mini. So crude mini and natural gas mini have been launched recently in this month itself, like in mid-March. So yeah, so this is there. Like since there are variable lot sizes, people of all capital sizes can trade it. Next, that's why I just mentioned, like from the smallest of the smallest to the biggest of the biggest trader can trade it. And then it also helps in diversification of capital. Say if you are a full-time trader and if you want to deploy your entire capital into this, you cannot put everything into one basket, right? Like all your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify it. And that's why I diversify it in this way, so that it helps me, if I get, if I'm not getting good trades in equity, or maybe due to my office, I'm not able to focus on that, or whatever is the reason, then at least I can diversify some part of my capital to commodity trading. So this is also helping in that way. And then the way I mentioned earlier, I'm reusing my same capital so that my returns are higher. So this is about commodity trading. On the last point, I would like to mention, see, reusing the same capital is not allowed with all the brokers. Like with Zerodha and Upstocks, they have a different commodity wallet, you can say. So wherein you have to put a separate amount into commodity trading. So you cannot use your equity capital for commodity trading. Like if you take something, stocks or whatever funds and something, and you try to pledge it, whatever margin you get, even that margin can be used only for equity trading. So in commodities, you have to put a separate capital. But like other brokers, we have like, Finvasia, we have Angel One, IIFL, Kotak Securities. all of these brokers allow using the same margin for equity and commodity.
Oh.
So if you want to go for commodity trading, you first go for a broker who allows reusing the same margin, because why you want to waste your margin in something else? So that is the thing on the last point specifically. So we'll just move ahead.
I have one question.
Yeah.
This is Jay. Actually,
Yeah.
I have one question that, like, you must be remembering that one day on 20th April 2020, the crude prices has gone to negative in US markets.
Right.
But that time,
Yeah, I know about it.
it never went to negative in Indian market. So,
Right.
Can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah, let me try. Yeah.
Now, when we are saying that this cannot be manipulated easily, so every exchange is having certain volume of any trades which are happening, and those certain limited volumes will govern the price action, right? So MCX itself is having very limited value as compared to the US trade.
Right.
US market, right?
Volumes are very less. Right.
So if commodities can go and see the negative $30-40 value on US market, which is like much higher in volume, right?
Right.
There is a probability that Indian market can be manipulated with much lesser capital to that extent, right? So if you are saying that it cannot be manipulated easily, I basically have a problem there. And another thing is, I have never seen going any stock price to negative. So I have that confidence. If I'm betting on a stock, it can be zero max and it will stop there, but commodity won't. So these are inherent risks on commodities. That's what my feeling is.
I got your point. So, but what I would like to mention is, if you are trading commodities, you keep, so India generally follows the US oil. So if you open the US oil chart and if you open the crude oil chart over here, okay, if not 100%, you can say at least 90-95%, it would be a replica of that chart. So that is one thing. Second, since we are trading, like we are replicating the US oil, it is the crude oil which we trade here is US oil into the dollar USD INR value. That is the way we arrive at the crude price over here. So back then in 2020, I have heard about it. I was not trading commodities at that time. But yeah, one more thing is there, like apart from the price of crude or US oil, the other thing which also impacts it is the USD INR value. So I'm not sure how was the USD INR value at that point in time. That is there. Again, the scenario which we are talking about in April 2020, it was COVID times when there was no demand for crude at all, because people were at home. They were not going out, not using any vehicles, not needing anything. Everybody was hogging on to the cash and sitting on it because they thought that world is going to end. Probably we should save money. We don't know when we are we would get a chance of earning again. Many people had lost their jobs. So that is
I'm actually not looking for any rationale on crude oil price at that point in time, right? I know, I have gone through that. I know it. What I'm saying is commodity can be manipulated on the exchange and it can go to negative also. So that's what I would like to bring to everyone's attention, because that is one risk which we have to carry if we are trading in commodity.
Okay, fine. I agree.
Right?
So whenever you are trading,
and the crude, what happened to zero when it went to negative value, we have to see why it went. Because crude is continuously produced, and
it's because of demand, for sure.
No, it was not a question of demand.
At the same time, stocks never went to zero. The world was going to end.
It was not a question of demand. It was basically a question of the storage. They were producing so much and there was no place to store because there was no demand. So that is the reason it went for a negative return. But it was a once in a century event, yeah. So we cannot take that as once in a
human age.
once in human age तो ठीक है, ऐसा हो सकता है कभी भी. So we cannot make a general thing on the basis of one particular incident.
Sir, I'm not saying this incident cannot happen. I'm just saying that we have to keep this in mind. There is an inherent risk when we are trading commodity. Once in a blue moon, you will have one.
Yes.
Continue. Bankrupt.
That can happen
right?
anytime, anywhere. Yeah. ठीक है, चलिए.
No. So okay, so I will just add in. So the way Kothari sir mentioned, so what was the issue is the production of crude was still the same because they didn't anticipate it so much. Earlier, whatever was produced was there and the production was ongoing. Then the supply was still there. The demand had completely stopped. Okay, people were not fueling at all. The problem of storage arise, like they were producing so much, they didn't have space to keep it. So they were telling people, take it in free. We don't have place to store it at all. That's why it had gone to negative. I do understand it is once in a lifetime event, but the way Jay just mentioned, we have to keep that at the back of the mind, because even if any event is a once in a lifetime event, and if you bet all your eggs on that event, you can go bankrupt, right? So you should have that in the back of your mind. And that's why earlier also when I gave a presentation, I mentioned whatever you are trading, you should make sure that you have at least 4 or 5 different strategies. You don't have to go all in on any one strategy, because this is market. If it would have been so easy, even Tatas and Ambanis would have come here. You know why they're keeping so many people, giving so many salaries? They would have hired the top traders who are there in Twitter, and they would have given them all the capital. You take this and you trade. So risk is there.
That was my purpose of this comment.
Agree के अंदर बहुत possible है.
Not opposing anything. I was just making sure that we are informing everyone about the inherent risk it carries.
Right. Yeah, I had that in the.
But that risk in the agri commodity is very high. Yeah, agri commodities can go to zero also. That is frequently happening because of the operator. So if you are trading in NCDEX, then you have to be very, very careful. NCDEX में वो आपको चना जीरा जो होता है ना ट्रेड, वो तो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं.
एक आपका गैस है, एक गोल्ड है और सिल्वर है. ये 4 मेन है जिसपे लोग ट्रेड करते हैं. बाकी सब अनप्रेडिक्टेबल है because very less volume.
और उसमें ऑपरेटर्स पूरे ऑपरेटर्स है उसमें.
और बाकी मोस्टली लोग हेजिंग के लिए ही यूज करते हैं, मतलब जो एक्चुअल फार्मर्स एंड
एक्चुअल
इंस्टीट्यूशंस एंड ऑल, दे मोस्टली यूज इट. ठीक है. So this we talked about the inherent risk. Like even in equities ना, if we say like during elections last time एक 2 बार circuit लगा था, like 20% upper circuit, right? Even that is once in a lifetime event, but तभी भी बहुत सारे लोग bankrupt हो गए थे. तो whatever, however sure you are, just make sure that you don't deploy more than 20 or 25% of capital on any one thing, whatever you are trading. And naked though, I don't do only, like it will be always a hedged position. So okay, so commodity trading, whatever has some pros, it also has some cons, so we will just talk about it. Since commodity operates till late night, if we talk, okay, we will talk about the timings later. I'll just give you a brief. So people who are prone to sleeping early, they can it can disturb their sleep a little. But it's not required that you stay awake till so long. You can also close your trading prior to that. So that is also an option available. Then the other challenge is the way we have Opstra sensible, whatever things for equities. But for commodities, we don't have any such platforms. Okay, if we want to track anything, if we want to backtest anything, if you want to make any strategies also, you want to monitor its PNL, you cannot do, because none of the platforms give you any historical data or any software per se for that matter. So even I don't think for paper trading also you have anything. Like for equities, you would get a lot of apps, right, which allow you to paper trade. So those are not there in commodity trading. So those things you will have to actually paper trade it, like note it down and things like that, or you'll have to start small and then you can build onto it. So that is one more con. The other con is I started facing it recently. I was observing that with equity, I'm getting 4 or 5%. With commodity, like with one commodity, I'm getting maybe 4 or 5% a month. But with commodities, it's a little peaceful and I'm comparatively spending less screen time and less overall time also compared to equity. So little by little, I've started losing interest in equity market. So even that can happen. Like People who are hardcore core commodity traders, they actually don't trade equity markets. So that is there. Next is the way sir PK sir was mentioning, it's a little boring, even commodity trading. At least the strategy which I follow is a little boring in commodity trading. So that can be the cons. Okay. So what is commodity? We'll just discuss, and what are its types. Okay, one more thing before we just go ahead. Actually, we'll have to end it at 1. So I just wanted to highlight that if there is any part which is remaining post that, I don't think it will remain because I've made it a short presentation, but in case it remains, then we'll have to take it up at a later time. Okay, so we'll just move ahead. So what is commodity and what are its types? So actually, if you Google it, you would get a definition which is, resembling that anything which you are using in your day-to-day life and you are paying for using that thing, that is called a commodity. So this I just mentioned, a commodity is an asset or a group of assets that are used by you in your everyday life. It can be oil, metal, spices, anything. So whatever you eat or whatever you use for making other things for your construction and other businesses, all that falls into commodities. Then types of commodities, the primary types of commodities. So bullion, or it is also called as precious metals, which is gold and silver. Next is base metals, which is aluminum, brass, copper, lead, nickel, zinc. And we have the energy, which is crude oil and natural gas. Then we have agri commodities, which can be pepper, cardamom, cotton, and things like that. And there would be, so these are the 4 major, you can say, types of commodities. The way we just discussed, mostly trading is done in energy, that is crude and natural gas. And then we also have it in gold and silver, which is bullion or precious metals. If you look at base metals, like the lot size is comparatively higher. Also, the bid ask would be higher because volumes are very less over there. So I tried it initially, but then the SL jumping and a lot of things happen. Because if you place SLM, it will mostly jump, like it will get executed at a very weird price. If you try to place an SL limit order, it will probably jump. So that was the issue I was facing with others. Agri commodities, I never tried it because obviously it's not meant for us mostly. It's for the actual players who carry the risk of having agri commodities. So that's about it. So I generally focus on only crude and natural gas.
Why not gold and silver? Why not gold and silver?
I started pretty recently, and till the time I don't master crude and natural gas, then I would not, go ahead and add more to it. And I also observed, like in gold and silver also, there is a little bid ask. Like if you look at crude and NG, so I mostly trade in options. There you hardly will find any bid ask difference. Like in crude oil, there will hardly be a 1 rupee or 2 rupee difference max in crude. And even in NG, there would be a very less bid ask difference.
So you mean to say among all these things, the most liquid is crude oil and natural gas? Most liquid?
I believe most liquid is crude, then would be natural gas, and then the gold, silver, and other things might come in.
Oh, achha.
So, but base metals, so crude, natural. So if anybody has to start, you look at crude, natural gas, gold, silver. Out of these 4 only, you start with something, because agri, just don't focus on it. And base metals, if you have a lot of expertise, only then you can go for it, because it is having a very poor liquidity. So that's about commodities. Then commodity exchanges. Actually, there are 22 exchanges in India. Even I was shocked with this number, but there are a lot of exchanges. But the most of the trading that happens is in MCX and NCDEX. So MCX is multi-commodity exchange, which is mostly focusing on, all the non-agri commodities, like the first 3. And NCDEX is primarily focusing on agri commodities. They also have others, but the primary focus is that way. Then we would go to the next slide. Okay, so I will just mention the basics of commodity trading. So we have the spot price, which we can see in the broker terminal, but spots are not traded. Forward contracts are traded, but they are not traded on exchanges. They are traded only by banks and large institutions. Then we have the futures and options, which are traded in exchanges. If you want to go for directional trading, futures would be a good choice. I generally go for non-directional trading. That's why I have my option strategies, which I generally use in these two commodities specifically. Then we'll talk about the timings. So timings for the domestic commodities or just the domestic agricultural commodities, we can say the timing is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then for internationally linked commodities like cotton, coffee, soya ref is soybean refined oil, and other commodities who are internationally linked also, but they are agricultural commodities. For them, the timing is till 9 p.m. So 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I don't focus on both of these things. Then all the other commodities like bullion, base metals, and energy, all these are open till 11:30 or till 11:55. So if we talk about, so in US, they have a daylight saving time, right? So currently we are in the DST mode. So for this year, if we talk about it, it started from 12th of March and it is there till 23rd of 5th of November, I believe. Yeah, so till 5th of November. So during this phase, when US is operating in DST mode, that time our markets will be open till 11:30 p.m. And when they are not operating in the DST mode, for the remaining 6 months, we will be open till 11:55 p.m. for the commodity trading. So I focus on this aspect.
No, but you were telling it is 24-hour trading or 23 hours trading. Where it is 23 hours?
That is globally. Matlab US oil and other things, they will keep trading.
But India is only 9 a.m. to 11:30 only, na? India.
Right. Yeah, India is only 9 to 11:30 and otherwise 9 to 11:55, we can say. So that 9-hour gap is still there.
So it means that we can also have a gap up, gap down openings in the
But
morning.
it is right. We can gap up or gap down. It is very less, but still I never carry positions overnight. Whatever I trade in commodities, even that is intraday only. So whatever I trade, whether it is equity, commodity, like more than 70% of the things in commodity, it is entire 100% things I will close off. In equity, I do have some positional strategies, but more than 70% would be still intraday. And even in commodity, currently all 100% is intraday only. So I don't carry anything overnight. Like I want to always have a peaceful sleep. And I believe whatever I have got today, whether it is profit or loss, I book it. Because if it is profit, I cannot hold it, thinking it's a profit. And if it is loss, then there's always a chance that it can give a more loss. So I always close it. So this was about the timings for commodities. So this I have just mentioned. This we'll talk about this point later. So actually, this was regarding the inventory. So crude and natural gas have their inventory, which comes at 10:30 a.m. EST. So it translates to 8 p.m. Indian time during November to March, which is the non-DST phase, we can say. And it is 9:30. No, I trade in equities. I trade in equity like Nifty, Bank Nifty primarily.
No.
And
commodities. Commodities you trade in MCX or only MCX?
Yeah. Only MCX. Only
and
MCX and only crude
and the timing for crude and natural gas is
it is still 11:55 or 11:30.
PM.
No, so this is just the first two. Yeah. So the first two are just for agricultural
you can
commodities.
emphasize more on these two because we will be doing only in that. So that is why I raised
Right.
question.
Even your gold, silver, and other things, all of this will fall in this category.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go ahead. How is crude? So there are a little differences when we talk about commodities and the equity expiry. So I will just brief a little on that. So futures and options in equity we expire at the same time, right? But in commodities, at least in crude and natural gas, that is not the case. Your options will expire 2 days prior to the futures expiry. So both of them will expire at a different time. That is one. Second is whatever are the options contract. which you are holding, if they are ITM contracts, most of the brokers will, if you don't close it, actually most of the brokers will close your contracts by say 10:30 or 11 o'clock on the options expiry day. But even if they don't close or something happens, those ITM contracts get converted to futures. It can be a future short or long position depending on you are carrying a call or a put. But so options will get converted into futures, and then futures will expire after 2 days after the options expire. So if you're trading in options, you have to be very sure that you square off your positions when the options contract is expiring. So that is the other point. Then crude oil contracts specifically, if we say, they are deliverable. Like they have a specific delivery mechanism for crude, but most of the brokers will not allow that. They will square off your positions. But yeah, for large institution and other players, they do have that option. And there are a very few brokers which do it. I don't know which, but they still exist. Like, so that was one point. Like with crude, you be a little more careful. And brokers will generally go and square off your orders at market price if you don't square it off on the options expiry day at a specific time. So to avoid that, you can square it off well in time so that you don't land into any bid ask difference. And the NG contracts which we have, they are not deliverable. So they are cash settled, the way we settle Nifty and Bank Nifty contracts. So this is the way NG contracts are treated. Then settlement price for crude and NG, it is just like equity. It is the average price of the last 30 minutes, what is traded. So that is the settlement price. So even here you will see like, the closing price was something different, but actual settlement happened on a different price. So you can just keep this in your mind. And then here we have just the monthly expiry. Here we don't have any weekly expiries yet, because even in monthly, the volumes are still not so high. So we just have monthly expiries. So that was about expiries over here. Now we will be going a little, into basics and what stuff is required for you to start trading into crude and natural gas. But before moving on, if you have any questions on whatever points we have discussed till now, we'll take that up and then we'll move ahead.
I have only one issue. Right now, I'm closing my shop at 3:30 and then I go and watch this Netflix from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Now, if I start doing this, then what I will do?
Sir, you deploy a passive strategy and you should start watching Netflix from 9 a.m.
यार इसमें यही मुझे लग रहा है 3:30 बजे वहां शांति हो जाती है और यहाँ रात को 11 बजे तक आप जो है देखते रहोगे, चैन तो मिलेगा नहीं. That is the only issue I am thinking. Otherwise, it's good. चलिए. You have any question, everybody?
Okay, sir.
Ma'am, would you be sharing
actually commodity market gives move after 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 9:30. That is the major move.
Right. Mostly after US market opens, mostly the action starts over there. तब तक डल ही रहता है पूरा.
The only action is only 2.5 hour drive only, sir. 7 to 9:30.
Oh, ऐसा है क्या? अच्छा.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा.
Actually, I am doing it in
expiry
crude and
date is near about 18 now every month.
अच्छा, अपने ऐसे कोई ट्रेडिंग कर रहा है कमोडिटीज के अंदर?
How I am doing it?
So how is the experience?
Sir, my experience is good because officially I'm saying on this platform I'm doing in Dabba actually. I'm not doing official trader.
No, but
because I don't have so much capital to deploy for the.
But are you able to make money?
On an average, sir, I'm getting good.
अच्छा.
I am doing it in silver. Silver mini.
Okay. How is your experience?
Oh, sir, it is wonderful. Recently, I have,
एक बार मैं सबको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ मैं. अनम्यूटिंग एवरीबॉडी. हाँ, अभी अनम्यूट करके बोलिए. कीर्ति जी, आपको भी अनम्यूट करके बोलना है. हाँ, बोलिए.
Yeah. So basically, I have a very limited capital in silver because I'm still learning. So I do it with 4 lots, but in this trading in 4 lots from past, I started in March. So I've already freed 2 lots into that.
Okay.
So it has been overall good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And ma'am, would you be sharing the symbols for NG and crude as well, please?
Symbols? Mr. Ankur, your that strategies and things are different, or follow the same thing?
strategies, sir?
You said no, you have been doing in small lots for crude and natural gas.
Yeah.
And you have this indicators and all that same like trading view or
Yes, I do it from the trading view itself. I mean, I look at the charts from trading view only.
So you're doing directional trading.
Okay.
Can you go to previous slide, please?
Yeah, just a minute.
Sir, that was a question for Ankur. Ankur, are you doing directional trading or non-directional trading?
I'm because silver mini is a future, so I do it in the next contract, not the current future. It's the next month future that I do. So in trading view, it would be silver MIC 2 and exclamation mark. So that is the next month contract. So I do it directional only.
Sir, discussion last में करेंगे.
Madam, what about Saturday, Sunday?
डिस्टर्बेंस बहुत हो रहा है.
डिस्कशन लास्ट में करेंगे.
चलिए. हाँ, कीर्ति जी स्टार्ट कीजिए.
Okay, ठीक है. I think somebody had a question, but ठीक है, we can take it up later.
Yeah, बाद में लेंगे.
Okay. So we just talked about this. Okay, so we will start with basics. I think Ankur, you were mentioning about the symbols. Now I will just put the screenshot of symbol for crude and natural gas in our group. I'll give it to Kothari sir along with the PPT, which we generally track. So, okay. So crude oil, if we say, it is a naturally occurring unrefined petroleum product, we can say, which is obtained under the Earth's surface. That is why it is not unlimited. It is a limited source of energy, we can say. And it is also a fossil fuel because we burn it. So that's why people are, finding alternative sources to crude oil, because we know that one day it is going to get extinct. So that is crude. Price of crude oil plays a very important role because crude is required for everything, like most of the products which we need, and for all other commodities also. Like even if we have to extract, say for example, natural gas, even that we drill and take it out. But for extraction and drilling and other things, again, we would need crude. To take out gold and silver also, we would need crude, because crude is giving that oil for us to extract those minerals. So crude indirectly affects the other prices also, the other commodity prices also. And hence it's very essential part, we can say, of the entire economy. This we have to be very careful. That is why when something wrong happens, like when we have corona or when we have a war-like situation or anything, the first thing that will get impacted is crude. And by looking at crude prices also, people can come to a lot of conclusions of what is going to happen in the near future. So you have to be very it gives you a very good understanding of the macroeconomics, you can say. So that is there. Then so the three main things which are there in crude. So first, it is a primary source of energy. The way we mentioned, like for transportation, be it for heating or for electricity generation, that is the primary source of energy. Then it is a raw material for production of many commodities, like include, like we'll have plastics, synthetic fibers, fertilizers, chemicals. वो Raymond का जो कपड़ा आता है, fabrics, all those things, even that has got crude to some extent, like that, those plastics to some extent. So you would look around, I think more than 50% of the things around you will have crude in some form or the other. That makes it so very essential for us. Then again, crude, the way we mentioned, because for extraction of other commodities also it is required to a lot of extent, and the other commodity prices also to some extent get impacted by crude. So that's why whenever something goes wrong with crude demand, supply or other things, you will have that impact visible on the other commodities as well, on all the other global commodity markets, and then in turn on the equity markets as well. So that is about crude. Hence, due to all these reasons, it is called as the mother of all commodities. And that's the reason I would recommend, like, if anybody wants to start their journey into commodity trading, it's always good you start with crude because of all these reasons. Like, you would get an overview of the entire macroeconomics. That is one. Second is, it is the most liquid. It is having the least lot size among all the commodities. Among all the non-agri commodities, I can say. I don't know about agri. So it is having the least lot size, and it is the most liquid, and it is the most basic commodity among all the commodities. So that's about crude. Then types of crude oil. This I will just give a overview, and then if anybody wants, you can just look at whatever is written in the PPT. So based on whatever from where the crude has originated, like from which country, how is its physical characteristics, like how dense it is, or how pure and impure it is, and basis what is the chemical composition. There are multiple types of crude which are arrived at. So they say light crude. The light crude is the, what I can say, expensive crude, we can say, because it is having a very low density. It also has very less impurities. It is very easier to refine, all those things. So the two major crude oils which are traded, like which is Brent crude and WTI, West Texas Intermediate, both of these fall under the light crude oil category. Then we have the heavy crude oil, which we just mentioned, like it has a higher density and hence it is difficult to refine. So your refineries have to be very robust to refine it, and that's why it is available at a cheaper rate. So whatever we are just talking here about types of oil and other things, so it will not impact your trading directly, but it is just to give you an understanding. So that's why we need not spend a lot of time on it. Then we have the sweet crude oil. So there are two types. One is sweet and one is the sour crude oil. So it depends only on the sulfur content or the other impurities which are there in crude. So the sweet crude oil will have very less impurities, and hence it will be very expensive because it doesn't require a lot of refining. And again, Brent crude or WTI, we can say, they are a kind of sweet crude oil. And then we have the sour crude oil, which will have higher levels of impurities and sulfur, and it will be very expensive to refine it. So in India specifically, we generally take the sour crude oil or the heavy density ones. We import all of them, but we generally import a little lower grade crude, and then we refine it. Like whatever refineries are there with Reliance, they are, world class, you can say. They can refine any kind of crude that is given to them. So that is generally done. And then this is again intermediate, means it will be a mix of sour and this and that. So you can just read it. So, okay. So in crude, since there are multiple types of crude, like here, if you see, it is Canadian heavy crude oil. There is Saudi Arabian crude oil. So there are many types of crude. So they also have their own benchmarks available. So WTI, which is West Texas, or we can say US crude basically, and Brent crude. These are the two crudes. And third is the OPEC reference basket, which I will talk in the next slide. So these three, and then the fourth one would be Dubai crude oil. So these four are the major crude oil benchmarks. In India, mostly WTI and Brent crude is what is referred to. And among that also, we generally follow the footsteps of US crude oil. So this is about the crude oil benchmarks. Then OPEC, which I was just talking about it. So OPEC is stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. So what was happening is earlier, since all countries are producing it, there was a need for some central body to track like how much should be produced or how much is getting utilized. So that was the reason OPEC came into picture. So earlier it started with very little countries, and then other countries started getting added. So currently there are total 13 countries which are just mentioned over here, which are a part of OPEC. So OPEC is a central body, we can say, which governs the entire production cycle of crude oil, like how much needs to be produced. They don't produce in excess, so that otherwise the prices would fall in, right, if there is excess of supply. And they don't produce it too less, so that people will not get in and they will try finding alternative sources. So they have to maintain that sweet balance. So this is OPEC. It was established in 1960 with the aim of coordinating. So whatever, like they have to set a fair price. So for that reason, they had started this OPEC. Then OPEC, you need to know about it because there are OPEC meetings which are held maybe once a month or things like that. And all these events, you are able to find it in the events calendar in investing.com. Mostly I look for all the events around commodities or even around Fed events. If I want to check when is what event, I go to investing and I check it. So OPEC meetings, if you are trading in crude, then you have to be very careful if there is any OPEC meeting around, because the way, if there is any Fed meeting, if Powell speaks and things like that, the equity market reacts wildly. Similarly, during OPEC meetings, crude can give wild moves. So you have to be aware of all these things. And even when we discussed about what countries are producing it and things like that, why we are discussing, because we need to be aware, because if there is some major country which is producing crude oil, if some problem occurs in that country, it will have a major impact on the commodity prices of crude. So that is the reason you need to have a fair bit of understanding. It will not be required in day-to-day trading, but for the macroeconomic pricing, you will have to make sure that you know all of this stuff. So this is OPEC meeting. So actually they say that, they do a fair pricing, which should benefit the countries as well as the global economy. But most of the times, whatever decisions they take, it will be for their own benefit. So this is there with OPEC. Then, okay, so we mentioned that we don't have a we don't have weekly expiries. We just have monthly expiry with both crude and NG. But there is some data which is getting released every week, and it does have an impact on the pricing of that commodity. So with crude, we have a crude inventory. The timing for that is 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. And it is released every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, there is inventory which would be coming out. Sometimes it so happens that Wednesday may be a holiday, or there might be, some other events like Fed meet or something else which might come in on Wednesday. If that is the case, then it does go to Thursdays also at times. Like with our expiries, our Bank Nifty expiries, if we have a holiday on, say, Thursday, then the expiry happens on Wednesday, right? But with inventory, that's not the case. If there is something on Wednesday and it can't be done on Wednesday, then it moves to the next day, not the prior day. So, but I can say like 90 to 95% of times it will happen on Wednesday. In some unforeseen circumstances or some planned events and things like that, it moves on to a Thursday. So this you can check in the events calendar in investing.com. So during
one question. This 10:30 a.m. means what time in India?
Yeah, so this 10:30 a.m. It can translate to 8 o'clock Indian time, or it can translate to 9:30 p.m. Indian time. So depending on whether it is in the DST mode or whether US in the non-DST mode, that way. But if you go to if you go to investing.com and if you check, then you will be able to find a proper Indian time over there, like whether it is 8 p.m. or it is 9:30 p.m. that way. Okay, so this also I had in the PPT about the timing, where the timing was mentioned about commodities. So I will show that slide also before we end the session once. Okay, so this is about the inventory timing. And then this report, it is a weekly report which gives a status like of how much crude oil is currently there in the US. So this report is actually the US report, we can say. It is not the global report. It is a US report, but this is the report that is most focused on from a crude oil perspective. And for us also, it is even more important because we generally follow US crude oil. So other countries and regions, they have their own schedules and inventories. Like in Canada also, they will be releasing some weekly report. Again, there are some other small players which have their reports, but all of these don't have, I would say all of these would hardly have any impact on the crude oil prices. And that is why it is not tracked also by anybody. The most important thing which would be tracked would be the inventory which is released by the US. And so earlier, what used to happen is, as per the inventory, the prices used to move. But these days, even that has undergone a little change. So it is not so straightforward, like if via the inventory you find out that the prices should fall and it will actually fall. It will not happen that way. Sometimes it will actually shoot up after the inventory. And then, after taking all the assets, it will start falling. So that is happening even in commodities. But at least some idea you would get through it. And when you know that what inventory is indicating and what the price is actually doing on charts, if that is the same, you can be very sure with whatever bet you are taking, and you can maybe put 20% of your capital. When you see that inventory data and whatever the price action is saying, that is not coinciding with each other, then maybe you can just go in with 10% of the quantity. Then you can add another 10% later on. So something like that you can follow, but you have to be, very sure of what inventory is indicating. Sometimes what happens is, whatever is the forecast which was given and whatever is the actual inventory which has come out, there is a lot of gap. Like there's a huge gap between the forecast and the actual figures. If that happens, then the price reacts immediately. So you have to make sure, like if you are into any position, you have to be a little careful. Or on inventory days, you can, like if you are a beginner, on inventory days you can totally avoid trading, or you can trade after the inventory is released after half an hour when the prices have settled a little. So during inventory, it can give 2-way, 3-way moves sometimes. So that's about the inventory. Then what are the factors which impact the crude oil prices? This also I will just give a little brief. Okay, so I know all of this is a lot of theory and it would be a little boring, but can't help, right? When we have to start something, we should know all the ins and outs of it. That's why. So after we finish this, I think around crude, there would be very less slides, 1 or 2 more. Then we'll take a little break, take all the questions, look at a few sites, and then we will go ahead and go to NG. Okay, so this is global demand and supply, which affects the crude oil prices. We'll just go through the headings also, because it is self-explanatory and you can also read what is given in the slides. So crude oil prices are affected by global demand and supply. So that was the reason during Corona time, there was no demand and the prices went negative. Next is geopolitical events. So during this Russia-Ukraine war and other things also we have witnessed, right? The prices have shown some wild moves. So during geopolitical events, then during economic conditions, like, because obviously if you are on a steady growth path, then people will consume more of oil and they will spend on luxuries and things like that. But whenever there is economic slowdown, then demand will definitely reduce. So economic conditions will have an impact. Weather conditions will have an impact because they disrupt the production. So that's why weather conditions have an impact. Then the exchange rates will have an impact because generally crude is priced in US dollars, and whatever our crude futures is there, that is US dollars in, that is US oil into USD INR. So we will definitely be impacted if there is any change in the exchange rates. Then we mentioned about OPEC. So whatever is its production decision, that will have a significant impact on pricing. Then technological advancements, like if there are new tools coming up which can extract the oil in faster time or things like that, then that will have some impact. Then other things like inventory data, production and consumption, or if some new resources like new oil is getting, from some other locations, if the consumption patterns are changing, if people are moving to some alternative forms of energy, all these things will also have a significant impact on the crude oil pricing. Okay, now we will come to actual trading. What all are the things which we need to know for crude oil trading in India? So we have two types of crude futures available. One is crude oil, one is crude oil mini. Crude oil mini has got launched recently in this month itself, in the mid of March, I can say. Then crude oil contract size is 100 barrels and crude oil mini contract size is 10 barrels. Okay. So 1 barrel is approximately 159 liters. Minimum tick size is 1 rupee, which is 1 barrel. So say for example, if crude oil pricing is 57,000, so then the next bid would be like 57,001, 57,002. So it will move on like this. And if you are taking one lot of mini, it will be equal to 10 rupees. So like 1 rupee here and there will be equivalent to a 10 rupee move or a 10 rupee PNL, you can say. And with crude, actual crude, it would be equivalent to a 100 rupee move for every 1 point. So that's why it's the least, it's having the least lot size, and that's why it's a good commodity to start with if you are just venturing into commodity trading.
So the is not clear. It's not clear. If it's a tick size का क्या करता है?
Okay. The tick size मतलब मैंने बोला कि say for example if we go अगर Nifty Bank Nifty trade करना है, so it would be like निफ्टी का 17,000 के बाद 17,001, 17,002, 1 रुपी में इंक्रीमेंट्स होता है ना. करेंसी का कैसे होता है, लाइक 70, अगर $80 प्राइस है तो 80.0025, तो .0025 वो है ना उसका टिक साइज. वैसे यहाँ पे भी 1 रुपी ही टिक साइज है.
निफ्टी का तो 1 पैसा है ना. निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी 1 पैसा.
नहीं, फ्यूचर्स का
फ्यूचर्स आल्सो 1 पैसा.
1 paisa. Okay, just
1 paisa only, na? You can increase your rate by 1 paisa.
अच्छा, 5 paisa.
नहीं 1 paisa. Nifty Bank Nifty is 1 paisa. All
5 paisa, 5 paisa.
नहीं Nifty Bank Nifty is 5 paisa.
हाँ sir, 5 paisa.
Nifty Bank Nifty is 5 paisa or 1 paisa? Okay, ठीक है, 5 paisa. Only in Nifty 20 and Bank 20 is 1 paisa. Okay, right.
हाँ.
वहाँ पे 5 पैसा, तो यहाँ पे you have a 1 rupee.
हाँ 1 रुपी. और यहाँ पे लाइक अपना करेंसी में तो 0.0025.
तो यहाँ पे अगर मुझे एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेना है अगर क्रूड ऑयल का या मिनी का, तो कितना क्वांटिटी लेना पड़ेगा?
हाँ, तो क्रूड ऑयल का इज 100 क्वांटिटी एंड मिनी का 10 क्वांटिटी है.
And the 10 quantity multiplied by 1 rupee only. And that
1
rupee
right.
plus the rate, whatever is the rate is.
Right,
okay.
right.
So tick size is 1 rupee. That means basic tick size is 1 rupee. So right. That means if I have to place an order for mini, I have to place an order for 10 barrel.
Right.
Or I have to put an order for crude oil, then I have to put an order for 100 barrel.
Right, but वो broker पे depend करेगा. Some brokers will ask you to enter वो 100 या 10 वो lot size enter करना पड़ता है. Some brokers will ask you to enter the number of contracts. So you just have to enter one. So that will depend on broker. So you have to be a little careful क्योंकि ना जो लोग initially start करते हैं they get a little confused. जैसे है मतलब कोटक सिक्योरिटीज में कहीं कोई कमोडिटीज के लिए वो टोटल क्वांटिटी मांगता है, किसी के लिए वो सिर्फ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कितने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट से वो मांगता है. तो यू कैन जस्ट चेक व्हाट इज देयर विद योर.
आपका फिनवेशिया में क्या है?
फिनवेशिया में इट इज यू हैव टू एंटर ओनली वन. लाइक इफ यू आर डूइंग वन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट यू हैव टू एंटर ओनली वन, नॉट 100.
अच्छा, बट देन यू सेलेक्ट क्रूड मिनी और क्रूड
ऑयल. राइट, क्लियर. उनका प्राइसेस दोनों का आजू बाजू ही रहेगा, सम 2-3 रुपए आगे पीछे रहेगा ड्यू टू दिस bid ask and all.
So only thing here is the tick size is 1 rupee, whereas in your bank nifty is 5 paisa.
5 paisa. Right.
And your currency is 0.0025. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Clear.
जैसे वोडाफोन आइडिया का और भी बहुत कम रहेगा that way. तो ये tick size है. Then okay, so margin required approximately 2 lakhs is required if you are trading in crude. If you are trading in mini, then 20,000 is required approximately for a future contract. Then I generally trade in options. The way I mentioned, I am primarily a non-directional trader. So when I sell both call and put, I generally require 4 to 4.5 lakh for both the legs
Madam,
together.
Madam, madam,
Huh?
2 lakh margin for crude. Usually,
Right.
if you go closer to the expiry, it becomes very high. Sometimes 275, 3 lakhs, it becomes high.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
but generally, if you trade, it is 2 lakhs. In the last week, the way it increases for the equity also, it will go ahead and increase for commodities also.
अच्छा, margin increase होता है.
हाँ, equity के जैसे ही अपना बढ़ जाता है
last week में बढ़ता है जैसे. हाँ. अच्छा, how about liquidity of the call and put options and expiries up to which period these are available?
3 महीने के इनके भी होते हैं.
इसके आगे का नहीं है, लीप नहीं है इसके अंदर.
नहीं, 3 महीने का ही होते हैं इनके भी, if I'm not mistaken. तो
और I can employ my the leap strategy here also.
हाँ, we'll have to check how it works.
अच्छा,
तो वो है, बट इसमें जितना मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है ना,
ग्लोबल मार्केट में तो एक साल
there is
2
no
साल मिलेगा
liquidity,
आपको.
अपने यहाँ पे नहीं है.
MCX में 3 में नहीं है.
हाँ.
तो quarterly you have, that means.
No, Kothari ji, even after 2 months, if you see, there is no liquidity. Basically, only current and next month will have some liquidity in.
And even in that, it is mostly the current month only. Next month में भी आपको थोड़ा सा bid-ask मिल ही जाएगा.
अच्छा.
So best is to trade the current month. Like I do current month only.
नहीं वो
आज का वेबिनार के बाद में थोड़ा लिक्विडिटी बढ़ जाएगा.
वो मैं
नहीं अपने पास टूल अवेलेबल है ना, वो बेस्ट ऑर्डर वाला, तो आई कैन मैनेज दैट नेक्स्ट मंथ आल्सो, लास्ट मंथ आल्सो. एक भी ट्रेड होगा तो अपना ही ट्रेड होगा, वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. ठीक है, ओके. अच्छा, तो इसके जो आपके प्रीमियम्स का क्या चलता है? कैन यू जस्ट से
इसके प्रीमियम्स जनरली जब स्टार्ट होता है, न्यू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जब स्टार्ट होता है, अराउंड 600 to 700 आपको स्ट्रैडल प्रीमियम मिल जाता है, एटीएम स्ट्रैडल का.
How do you compare with Nifty and Bank Nifty? Or percentage wise or something like that?
हाँ, so currently if you see, crude is trading at 57,000. Okay. तो 57,000 का आप अगर देखोगे तो 10% would be sorry, crude is trading at 5,700. तो उसका अगर 10% देखेंगे तो it is 570, right? तो straddle premium is covering more than 10% of the range if you deploy it at the very start of the month.
Nifty Bank Nifty में नहीं है इतना.
Nifty Bank Nifty में बहुत कम होता है premiums.
But इसका premium 10% for the current month is very good.
हाँ, more than 10% actually. Much more than 10%, 12% या 13%, कभी-कभी उससे भी ज्यादा होता है अगर कुछ आगे पीछे रहा तो, but 10% is the bare minimum that you will get in any scenario.
उसको hedge कैसे करेंगे? और वो क्या करेंगे?
उसको आप buy and fly वगैरह भी कर सकते हो, मतलब hedge करना है तो, but the way I mentioned ना, I generally don't take positional trade. Positional भी लेते हैं बहुत सारे लोग whom I know. I have not yet started taking positional. I just take intraday trade. I take it like and I close off before.
How you trade then in the morning? Morning मतलब then you
go
short.
अपना.
नहीं go short or go long?
नहीं समझा नहीं मुझे.
नहीं आप जैसे स्ट्रगल कर रहे हो तो आप शॉर्ट कर रहे हो स्ट्रगल मॉर्निंग में?
Short.
अच्छा.
Short. हाँ. But in the morning I don't trade commodities. I do it only after our markets close.
तो फिर कितना टाइम मिलेगा आपको? फिर कितना टाइम मिलेगा आपको ये इसका मतलब जो आपका थीटा डीके होने में? हार्डली यू गेट एनीथिंग ना?
नहीं, बट यू स्टिल गेट अ गुड डील लाइक.
तो अगर मॉर्निंग में कर ले तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? मॉर्निंग में करे तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
नहीं, उसके प्राइसेस बहुत वियर्ड ऑप्शंस, रीयूजिंग द कैपिटल भी है. नहीं, दैट इज आल्सो देयर, बट एक और इशू है कि सिर्फ थीटा डीके नहीं होता है ना, अलोंग विद दैट देयर इज आल्सो वेगा एंड देयर इज आल्सो डेल्टा व्हिच इंपैक्ट्स. तो अगर आप सुबह से लेके बैठोगे तो बहुत बार वो मतलब ऊपर नीचे इतना जाता है कि देयर इज हार्डली एनी थीटा डीके, बट डेल्टा मूव्स की वजह से आपको लॉस आ जाएगा, वो भी है.
तो इसमें कोई एक सेटअप बताइए ना, कोई भी एक, जैसे क्या करेंगे, जैसे मान लो मंडे करना है किसी को, तो व्हाट ही शुड डू इट. एक को बेसिक सेटअप कैन यू टेल अस?
I generally, okay, what I do is I generally do this thing. So earlier I was trying both straddles and strangles, but then I switched. I mostly do straddle shorting, and that I do most of the times post the US market opens. तो उसमें ही कुछ एडजस्टमेंट्स या फिर मतलब वो कैसे मैनेज करना है वगैरह वो सारी चीजें हैं. But I generally short straddles. That is my go-to strategy for both crude and NG. But दोनों का अप्रोच थोड़ा अलग है. Like what time So what I can say is basically in crude and natural gas, what strategy I am into is more around like आप कौन से टाइम पे एक प्रॉपर टाइम पे आप अगर एंटर करोगे, you might not have to adjust also, and you can get off very easily with some good returns. In crude, you can make around 4 or 5% a month on an average very easily and very peacefully with very less screen time. With NG, it can be around 1%, like more than 1% a day also you can make it. So it is on the deploy.
That means you enter at 7:30 while US opens and you close at 11:30. So आप 4 घंटे market में रहती हैं.
हाँ, approximately you can assume that.
Okay.
So,
and the same margin you are using it.
Natural gas में 1% per day means you can make 20% in a month.
Right. So it is very surprising, but it is not that way. I will tell you why it is not that way. Because with natural gas, if you can make 1% a day, you can lose 1% a day also. So if you are doing natural gas, you have to be very, you have to be very active. The way you are active with Bank Nifty, right? Natural gas,
Madam,
yeah.
But there should be sideway move. Now, after 6 o'clock, there is one-way move in crude oil always.
So okay, so we will come to all those things later. Actually, this is not about discussing any strategy, because there are a lot of ifs and buts to it. But this is the primary strategy which I follow. So this is the only strategy, but adjustments and other things are different in that. And with one-way moves and other things, we will have some predefined SL. Agar wo hit ho gaya, then you have to get out, because natural gas is just like our Bank Nifty. It can give 2-way, 3-way moves. Matlab natural gas can hit upper circuit and lower circuit on the same day. I don't know which other commodity is capable of doing that, but
you have a lower circuit also here, huh? Lower circuit, upper circuit also you have.
हाँ. So दोनों commodities में है. और natural gas में इतना potential है कि it can hit LC and UC on the same day, multiple times वो भी. तो you have to be very careful. मतलब अगर वो इतना high returns दे रहा है तो उसकी risk भी उतनी high है. Nothing comes free, right? वो high returns देगा तो it has a high risk with it.
So you're saying crude is Nifty and natural gas is Bank Nifty.
Right. Crude is you can say much softer than Nifty, but natural gas might be much wilder than Bank Nifty.
Nifty doesn't give you 10% straddle premium.
Right. That is there. That's why it's very good. Even if somebody wants to try positional, it is very good. If you
लेकिन आपको सेफ बताइए ना, कैसे इसमें कोई अगर मान लो एंटर करता है तो व्हाट इज द सेफेस्ट स्ट्रेटजी, मतलब क्या करेगा?
PKG, she doesn't want to talk about strategy today.
That will have a later on.
No, I have a small question. Since you mentioned that it is 10% straddle premium normally we get, but
more than 10%.
Crude may, if suddenly now it started trading at $75 recently. It came down from $82 to $75. Okay. And that is a very, very sudden movement, that is that is how much? That is around 7% or
10%, yeah.
8%.
Right.
So even such wild movements, the straddle takes care. That is something very incredible.
So with straddles, So with straddles, when you are doing, so one thing which is good is that we are trading it for a very short time. So उतने टाइम में कितना मूव होगा, we just need to be bothered about that, because I close it on intraday basis. That is one. Second is there are some levels which you might have to remember, or some active adjustments which you might have to do, active or passive or whatever, SL based. मतलब कुछ तो adjustment आपको करना पड़ेगा. You just can't be there. So it's like crude. If you trade it on 22 days, like 22 trading days अगर रहेंगे, maybe on 15 trading days, it will give you very easy money. On the other 2-3 trading days, it can be break even, you can say. और जो बचे हुए अगर 3-4 दिन रहेंगे, that are so wild that if you are not careful about your adjustments and other things, it can take away whatever you have earned on all the other days. So you have to be careful. मतलब ऐसे नहीं है, मतलब straddle, naked straddle तो आप कहीं पे भी लगा के ऐसे छोड़ नहीं सकते हो. It has to have that adjustment या कुछ तो, मतलब आपके पास निकलने की strategy होनी चाहिए. See, whenever you trade anything, like whether it be equity, crude, commodity, indices, anything, if you are having a strategy of shorting, ऑप्शंस, जैसे शॉर्ट स्ट्रैडल, शॉर्ट स्ट्रैंगल, व्हाटएवर, उसमें आपको कुछ करना ही नहीं है. यू जस्ट हैव टू टेक इट, थीटा विल डू इट्स वर्क. बट उसमें आपकी स्किल कहाँ पे आती है? यू नो व्हेन टू गेट आउट एंड यू नो व्हेन टू एडजस्ट, बिकॉज यू कैन नॉट कॉन्स्टेंटली फाइट विद द मार्केट. मतलब अगर आप इक्विटी मार्केट में ही ले लो, इफ इट इज कॉन्स्टेंटली फॉलिंग, तो आपका स्ट्रैडल, मतलब मार्केट अगर उधर ही रहेगा, आपको थोड़ी देर बाद उधर ही मिलेगा. इवन इन दैट केस स्ट्रैडल प्रीमियम इज इंक्रीज्ड बिकॉज ऑफ द वोलेटिलिटी. वेगा अगर बढ़ जाएगा तो स्ट्रैडल प्रीमियम आपका बढ़ जाएगा. तो बिना कुछ किए आपको लॉस, एमटीएम लॉस दिखने लगेगा, राइट? तो straddles and strangles, like short straddles and strangles, give you very easy money, but if you get caught, you can get caught very badly. So you have to be a little vigilant and careful.
But except for Corona time, if you see, the crude has been trading around $80 only.
That's what I'm saying.
Today also.
It will
today
be
also. Okay.
Yeah, it will be more than 80% times it will be very peaceful. But जब भी अगर वो कभी wild हो गया, तो then it can create a lot of panic. But you have to be careful, right? We are trading intraday, and that also just for 3-4 hours, we can say. तो उतने में तो we can easily manage. मतलब I have some 4-5 ways to deal with it. कहीं कहीं पे, like whichever suits us, like we can select one of those, and I have some option of keeping a predefined SL also in system. I'm also thinking of taking this to algo, but I have not yet reached that level. So currently I'm doing it manually only, because whenever you trade something manually, you get a lot of ideas. When you observe the market, there are a lot of other things which will kick in, and you will get to know other strategies also. So that's why I generally prefer
actually, if you see from 2020 onwards till today, the last almost I can say 3 years, is the most volatile for crude, because first is Corona, then Ukraine war and all. So this is a very unfortunate period. I think you have also started trading during this time only. But otherwise, I'm even PKG knows, we all worked in oil companies. We know the basics of crude.
But so she knows more now, eh? Ramji, she knows more. She knows more about the crude oil.
Yeah. What is good, no? Though, most of the slides we had the fundamental, but the way you had very systematically, you have brought out as if, you have worked in an oil company. That too, trading, we have a department exclusively for, crude shipments, logistics. So as if you have worked in such departments.
Right.
So yeah. So okay. So positional strategies, crude may, I don't do it. If you have a very huge capital, only then you can attempt doing it. I would not recommend for anybody who's starting new. There are many other strategies, like on intraday basis, which you can do, non-directional as well as directional. So पहले वो सब explore करके, if you have practiced enough at least for 1 year and you feel comfortable, only then move to positional in all the commodities. Because the way we discussed, it is trading 23 hours, but in India it is not trading for that long time. That is one reason. And second is, all commodities are very sensitive to global events. तो अगर कहीं पे भी कुछ भी हो जाता है ना, तो they can give very wild moves. So we have to be very careful. ठीक है, so that's about it. Crude में if we sell only one lot, like whether it is call or put, single leg में maybe अगर 2.25 लगेगा, तो 2 legs में 4.5 लगता है. जो निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी में हमें benefit मिलता है ना, if you do both call and put, margin gets reduced, वो नहीं है available in crude. It is there in NG, but it is not there in crude. So margin is exactly double if you do both call and put. So that is the case. अगर आप hedge भी करोगे, there is hardly any hedging benefit. मतलब hardly 10% आपका margin कम होता होगा. So it's not like iron fly में आपका drastically margin reduce हो जाता है if you convert from short straddle to iron fly. वैसे नहीं है यहाँ पे in crude oil. So there is hardly any margin benefit. Then expiry इसका अलग अलग होता है. उनका कुछ फंडा है कि every 25th के, मतलब 25th डेट के थर्ड प्रायर टू 25th थर्ड वर्किंग बिजनेस डे पे होगा, ऐसे कुछ. तो अलग ही लॉजिक है उसका. बट यू कैन चेक इट, लाइक whenever you put that in your watch list in the broker, you will get to know what is the actual expiry date. Generally अभी जैसे क्रूड का आई थिंक 17th को कुछ है, एंड क्रूड का जब होता है जनरली उसके 1 वीक बाद नेचुरल गैस का एक्सपायरी डेट होता है, एंड ऑप्शंस एंड फ्यूचर्स बोथ एक्सपायर ऑन अ डिफरेंट डेट. So this is about the expiry date. Then the way I mentioned, in India we follow the US oil, which is the WTI crude out of all the other benchmarks. And you can play directional. मतलब यहाँ पे since technical works very well, अगर आपके पास कोई indicators है जैसे trend capture करने के लिए या फिर reversal के लिए, all those will play very well. And then you can also trade non-directional straddles and strangles. This is what I do. I tried directional many a times, but somehow I am not comfortable with directional, be it Nifty, Bank Nifty or commodities. So I generally go the non-directional way. Directional, even if I take it, I cannot sit through a long trend. You know, if directional I ever do, it is kind of scalping only or very short term. So that's about it. And yeah, you can do scalping intraday, short term, BTST, whatever you do in Nifty, Bank Nifty, basically, you can do it with crude also. So this is about, okay, so this is not visible here.
Super trend and all these are available here also.
What?
Normal indicators we use, super trend and
yeah.
Yes.
You can use all of those. Yes.
But how is the volume? How is the volume in options?
It's very good, at least in the way I mentioned, at least in crude and natural gas. It's not very good, but for retailers it is fine. Like if you want to put a very huge order, it cannot go in. But since the margin is 5 lakh, if we say for shorting straddles, right? Obviously, nobody will go and put more than 20 lakhs. So for 3-4 lots, up to 10 lots, it can easily get absorbed with hardly any slippage, I can say.
What is the site where you see the premiums?
Yeah, I will tell you. Yeah, I will tell you that also. So I will just complete this last point and I will take you to the site. So circuit limit, the way I mentioned, with crude and NG both, we have upper circuits and lower circuits. So crude circuit is, so earlier I think it was at 7 or 8% something, but recently I have seen it at 4%. So it can keep changing because I have seen it changing. So currently what I see is it is at 4%. So whenever it is plus or minus 4%, there is an upper circuit or a lower circuit that gets hit. And whenever any circuit is hit, the trading is halted for 15 minutes. Okay. So for entire 15 minutes, you will see the price around the same range. And after that, once the circuit is opened, then another 2% increases. So then it will be plus minus 6%. Then again, if there is a circuit, it will become plus minus 8% that way. So 4% के बाद
maximum how much it can go?
Maximum I don't know, क्योंकि 8% से ज़्यादा तो जितना मैंने ट्रेड किया है उसमें more than 8% कभी मूव हुआ नहीं है.
अच्छा.
हाँ, तो so it is 4% and then every 2% increase होता जाता है.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, somebody was saying something?
Unmute करके बोलिए.
I think 15th March ko you would have seen circuits in crude oil because I see the opening price was around 6,000 and it closed way below that, like 500 below.
I have seen circuits in crude many a times. Like I think
that is 15th March is due to that US inventory data.
Crude. I don't remember that now. Let me just check what day it was. But crude and NG, like in a week at least once or twice you will see them hitting some circuits.
And are they cash settled or मतलब physical delivery का भी कोई चक्कर है?
नहीं, मैंने बोला ना क्रूड में फिजिकल डिलीवरी का चक्कर है, बट वो ब्रोकर्स अलाउ ही नहीं करेंगे कि वो टाइम आएगा. मतलब वो लोग खुद ही स्क्वायर ऑफ कर देंगे 10:30 के अराउंड अगर आपने स्क्वायर ऑफ नहीं किया है तो.
डेंजरस है ना फिर तो, अगर आपका मतलब
नहीं डेंजरस नहीं है सर, क्योंकि अगर उसने स्क्वायर ऑफ भी नहीं किया आपका पोजीशन ब्रोकर ने, तो भी वो आपका पोजीशन मतलब आपका ऑप्शंस की पोजीशन को फ्यूचर्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में कन्वर्ट कर देगा और फिर वो फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट 2 दिन बाद एक्सपायर होता है ना, तो वो फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फिर स्क्वायर ऑफ कर देगा. मतलब इसीलिए इनका ऑप्शंस और फ्यूचर्स का एक्सपायरी एक ही दिन पे नहीं है. और एक चीज है कि नेचुरल गैस तो कैश सेटल्ड ही है, तो उसमें फंडा ही नहीं है.
अच्छा, ओके.
तो 15th मार्च आई जस्ट सॉ इट वाज अ वेडनेसडे और इन्वेंटरी था उस दिन, मतलब होगा उस दिन ऑब्वियसली, तो इन्वेंटरी की वजह से भी हो सकता है. but now I don't have the data, so I can just check once. अगर कहीं से मिलता है तो
नहीं,
inventory
इंडिया
का
में तो
क्या है?
इन्वेंट्री थर्सडे को पता चलेगा ना?
हाँ राइट, नहीं थर्सडे को नहीं,
Sir,
वेडनेसडे को
it can be
इन्वेंटरी,
it can be
वेडनेसडे
on Wednesday or Thursday,
नहीं
depending on
वेडनेसडे
the.
नहीं, वेडनेसडे ही इन्वेंट्री होता है। अगर वेडनेसडे को कुछ छुट्टी रहा या कुछ और इवेंट है तो
नहीं, वो
थर्सडे को
बराबर
जाता है।
है। यूएस के इन्वेंट्री जो वेडनेसडे में चेंज हुई है, वो तो इंडिया में तो
नहीं नहीं नहीं
एमसीएक्स में
नहीं नहीं,
थर्सडे
आई
को
विल
पता
टेल
चलेगा।
यू, नहीं एमसीएक्स में क्योंकि वो 8 या 9:30 के अराउंड रिलीज होता है एज पर इंडियन टाइम। वहां पे 10:30 को मॉर्निंग में रिलीज होता है, यहाँ पे 8-9:30 के अराउंड जो रिलीज होता है, तो वी आर स्टिल ऑपरेटिंग एट दैट टाइम। तो हमें उसी दिन इम्पैक्ट आ जाता है उसका तुरंत ट्रेडिंग में।
Madam. The recent fall in crude was just after the the Silicon Valley Bank collapse.
Okay.
That was coinciding with that.
Okay. ठीक है, तो okay, just a minute, I will stop sharing again. It has got hung, but I think crude is done. Let me just check that also. ठीक है, just a minute. I will just take you to that slide. Meanwhile, I will just check if okay, so yeah, crude is over, NG is remaining, but I think since there is not a lot of time, we will probably take NG on some other time only. I will just take you to the, yeah, so we can first address if there are any questions around crude.
NG को खत्म कर लो ना, कितना टाइम है अभी? हमारी यूनिट 1 o'clock ना?
हाँ, we can take, ठीक है चलेगा, we can take, that's not an issue. मतलब स्लाइड्स तो वैसे ही है जैसे क्रूड के हैं, वही सारे एस्पेक्ट्स।
तो we'll go fast. You can cover in 10-15 minutes and then we'll have a question answer. तो पहले NG कंप्लीट कर दो।
ठीक है, तो I will just go to NG.
ज्यादा थ्योरी में नहीं जाएंगे, we will just go on the practical aspects.
ठीक है, एक मिनट, हाँ वैसे भी नहीं है ज्यादा थ्योरी का, we'll just glide through those theory slides. एक मिनट,
पहले आपको पीपीटी खोलिए उसमें लैपटॉप में, and
हाँ,
then उसको जाके शेयर कीजिए।
हाँ वही कर रही हूँ, क्योंकि otherwise it will get hanged again. Where is it? Okay.
Yeah, natural gas.
Okay. ठीक है, तो ये था क्रूड वी जस्ट कवर्ड, एंड देन इट इज नेचुरल गैस। मैं कहीं पे और शिफ्ट कर देती हूँ। ठीक है, तो नेचुरल गैस ट्रेडिंग, तो दीज आर अगेन द बेसिक्स ऑफ नेचुरल गैस। फिर से अटक गया, एक मिनट। व्हाट आई विल डू इज, ये ना हम लोग ऐसे ही कर देते हैं फुल स्क्रीन पे डाल के। एक मिनट, it's not having a lot of stuff. ठीक है, तो दिस इज
आपका स्क्रीन आ गया, ठीक है,
आ गया। ओके, सो दिस इज अगेन जस्ट द बेसिक्स ऑफ नेचुरल गैस। फुल स्क्रीन कहीं पे होता है क्या?
नहीं, छोड़ दीजिए, कोई बात नहीं, नो इशू।
ठीक है, तो हाँ, नेचुरल गैस, सो दिस इज अगेन जस्ट द बेसिक्स ऑफ नेचुरल गैस व्हिच वी डिस्कस्ड। नेचुरल गैस इज आल्सो जस्ट लाइक क्रूड, it is a fossil fuel, it is limited and it can get extinct. It is composed of whatever gases it is composed, it is just given whatever gases it is composed of. It is comparatively cleaner than crude because whenever you burn it, less of the greenhouse gases are released, तो इसीलिए वो थोड़ा सा मतलब less polluting है to the environment. This is also again found underground, just like petroleum deposits. Most of the times it is along with petroleum deposits, and again you have to extract it in the same way the way you extract crude. It is transported through pipelines and tankers and things like that. Then natural gas also has somewhat uses similar, some of the uses are similar to that of crude, that you can use it for heating, electricity generation, you can use it for transportation, and for manufacturing of some chemicals and things like that. So this we just discussed, it is comparatively cleaner. And it is used as a backup energy resource for renewable energy systems like wind energy, solar energy, and other things, to provide power when these sources are not available, like during some specific weather conditions. So this is about crude basics. I'll just move on to the next slide. Okay. Sorry, natural gas basics. So next is types of natural gas. So basically it is categorized into two main resources. So first one is conventional natural gas and the other is non-conventional. Conventional matlab jo which is produced, not produced per se, you can say, which is already available from the nature, and it is obtained by drilling. So jo underground reservoirs se वगैरह जो मिलता है, that is the conventional natural gas, and it is comparatively easier to extract. And conventional gas was the first natural gas that came into existence. Then we had other non-conventional resources that is extracted from the other non-conventional sources like shale rock formations and sandstones and things like that. So this require a little, these are a little difficult to extract and require a little, you can say, more expenses to extract them. So these are the non-conventional types of natural gas. But they are currently being used on a wider scale because we have got some more tools to make them easier to extract, and because conventional gases are also becoming less. So that's about the main types of natural gas. Then in addition to these, there are a lot of other natural gases also available depending on the composition and other things. So usage, we can say. So one is dry gas, which is primarily methane gas. There is wet gas, which is primarily propane and butane. Then there is sour gas, which is having high hydrogen sulfide. And there is shale gas, which is extracted from the shale rock. So these are the other minor extractions of natural gas, we can say. Again, the way we have in crude, here also we have several benchmarks in natural gas. Primarily, the ones used are Henry Hub, which is, I think, of US. Then National Balancing Point, NPB, I think this is from UK. Then we have Tidal Transfer Facility, I think this is of Europe. Then this is from Japan, and this is again from some parts of Europe. So this is about
Russia.
Yeah. So this is okay.
I'm just wondering, the IT person talking about natural gas and crude oil. I'm an IT person.
Yeah. Sir, I can talk about biology also.
Great.
So,
IT person and talking natural gas.
Yeah.
And I was general manager natural gas.
Oh, great.
चलिए आगे चलिए.
So, okay, so this is about the natural gas benchmarks. Then in crude, we have a central body, OPEC, right? But in natural gas, we don't have anything like that, which is centrally, managing the demand and supply. So there are various small regional organizations for natural gas. So one of them you can say is this thing. Here we have just mentioned all of them. So you can just read it. So GECF, IGU. So whatever, it is even difficult to read them. So we'll just leave it. You can read it over here. So all small regional players come together. And then, so these organizations do not have the same impact because they don't monitor it or, take central decisions. But to some extent, all these players will have an impact on whatever is the natural gas demand and supply and pricing. So this is about the regional organizations which are there for natural gas. Then again, in natural gas, we have inventory, the way we have it for crude oil. Natural gas inventory is released at the same time, but it is one day later. So crude we have on Wednesday, natural gas inventory comes on Thursday at the same time. And again in US. So, okay, so natural gas inventory refers to the amount of natural gas that is stored in the underground facilities, such as depleted natural gas reservoirs, salt caverns, and aquifers. And the purpose of storing it is so that they can ensure there is a smooth supply of natural gas, because during some weather conditions, they are not able to extract it. So that's the reason they store it. It is measured in billion cubic feet or trillion cubic feet. Again, just the way we have for crude. Even for natural gas, the EIA itself releases weekly report, which is on every Thursday at 10:30 EST. And that provides understanding of what is the total storage that is there of NG, and what was the storage in the previous week, and what is the forecast. So even for crude, they have it in this way only, like what is the current availability, what was the availability in the previous week, and what was the forecast for this week. So natural gas inventory levels are again influenced by a variety of factors like its production, consumption, and some weather patterns. Like in general, if we see, the natural gas levels will increase during spring, and then they will fall whenever there is a lesser demand, that is during winter and summer. So whatever, you can just read through it about the inventory. Then this is factors influencing the natural gas prices, just the way we have some factors for crude. Okay. Okay, so this is some. Okay, so this slide got some mismatched. I will just change this one slide from my previous stuff if I have. So here, half of the things are available here, half of the things are gone. This slide got pasted wrongly. So I'll just update it. There are 2-3 more factors which I'll put in my previous slide. And in this slide, I have added the other factors. So this is storage levels, which will have an impact. Then the economic growth and industrial activity will have an impact. Government regulations will have an impact, and competition from other fuels will have some impact on the natural gas pricing. This is the previous slide. It has the same heading, but this data is of inventory. So I'll just update it while sharing the final PPT. And then this is what is the basic thing which we need to know for our trading. So in natural gas, we have natural gas and natural gas mini. These two contracts are available. NG futures contract on MCX is of 1250 billion British thermal units, which is MMBTU, which is equivalent to 1.25 metric tons of natural gas. And NG mini is 250 MMBTU. So just like crude, here also the minimum tick size is 1 rupee. So which is 1 MMBTU. Margin required is 1.25 lakhs. Okay, sorry. So this, I will just brief on this point once. So natural gas is 1250 is the lot size. For crude, we have 100. Natural gas mini is 250, whereas for crude, it is just 10. So this you can just note. And then with natural gas, the margin required is comparatively lesser than crude because the price of natural gas is also lesser than crude.
ये bracket में 85,000 होगा ना?
हाँ, sorry. So this also I'll just change. So, okay. So this tick size also I will just change. So tick size is not 1 rupee actually, it is 0.1.
10 paisa.
10 paisa. Okay. So this is okay. So margin required is 1.2 lakhs for natural gas futures if you are doing. If you are doing the mini contract, then it is 20,000 approximately. Here you have some benefit like Nifty Bank Nifty ke jaise hai. Like if you just sell a call or put, it is 85,000. But if you sell both call and put together, it is 1.05 lakhs. ये वाला benefit crude में नहीं है. Like crude में 1 lakh का 2 to 2.25 lakhs लगता है and दोनों legs का double हो जाता है. But यहाँ पे वो double नहीं हो रहा है. So here you do have that margin benefit which you get in Nifty Bank Nifty if you do both.
What is the reason for it? What is the reason ki there it is not
there?
It is
I don't know what is the reason actually.
Anybody else know about this thing? Why it is so? चलिए,
One obvious reason I can think of is, as she said, in crude, you are getting so high premium in a straddle also. you get 10% premium. And the
Gas
premium
में
is
natural
high.
gas it is double.
नहीं natural gas में भी उससे भी higher premium होते हैं
20%
most
है.
of the times.
Ma'am, where to check this premium like in an SC?
I will we'll come to that.
My point is different. My point is your margin is very high in crude because you are getting so high premium. That could be one of the reasons. Probably natural gas, what is the premium you get? You
No,
get
so that's
10%.
what we are saying. No, we are getting premium more than crude. More than crude. Natural gas is always more than crude. For premiums and for movements also.
This is Bank Nifty, na? Natural gas is like Bank Nifty, na? That is what she told.
हाँ, Bank Nifty से भी wild है. So that's why.
Okay.
Okay. ठीक है. So again.
But आपने लिखा there is no margin benefit you buy hedges.
हाँ, no you can say or you can say very minimal. Just crude के जैसे मतलब hardly 10% कम होगा आपका overall margin या कभी-कभी उतना ही दिखाएगा. तो
मतलब आपको 2 लाख चाहिए होगा. 2,10,000 if you hedge.
नहीं, not that way. Because with hedges you are just buying, right? तो आपको सिर्फ वो premium cost pay करना पड़ेगा. जो maybe 5-10 हजार या कुछ होगा वो. तो even with crude, it is 4.5 lakh actually. If you hedge वो 4 मतलब अगर 4.5 आपको दिखा रहा है तो hedging के बाद maybe वो आपको 4.2 दिखाएगा. मतलब hardly 10-15% थोड़ा कम ज्यादा दिखा सकता है ऐसे. For both. तो ठीक है, that's about it. Expiry इसका generally 1 week after the crude contract होता है natural gas का expiry. And just the way you have for crude, here also you can play everything like directional में trend trading or reversal trading. Non-directional में straddles, strangles. You can do scalping, intraday, short-term BTST. And like crude, even for NG, it is the same. 4% पे circuit लगता है. Trading gets halted for 15 minutes. And then after that, every 2% पे circuit लगते जाता है. So, in many cases, it is similar to crude, but its margin requirements, lot size, and those things are different than crude. Okay. Then, so this is just about me, why I have started trading in crude and natural gas, or what I trade in them. So I trade non-directional strategies, the way we discussed some time back, straddle strangles, and I traded post the equity markets over here close. With crude, I have observed with very less screen time because I sometimes put a predefined SL on one of the legs or I set some alert for specific levels. So that way with crude, I'm able to generate around 4-5% a month. And with crude, it is pretty easy. If you are a little disciplined with very less screen time and with almost no skills also, you can generate that because we are not going to, predict which way it is going to move. So there are two approaches. Okay, so one is predict and panic. You predict something, you take that and you panic. So that happens with me always. So I don't go via that approach. I follow the other approach, which is, follow and flourish. So what I do is I just follow the price wherever it goes. I take my straddle over there and things like that. So I generally follow the price. So that way it doesn't require a lot of skills, and minimum 4-5% a month you can generate on an average with
so
very
Kirti,
less.
You mean to say it is more rewarding than equity?
No, I can say it is equally rewarding because in equity also I can make around 4-5% a month. With crude also I can make around 4-5% a month. But what is more like with crude, what happens is I have to give very less screen time. The overall time duration for which I trade is also less. In that also, I am actively monitoring for very less time, like maybe hardly half an hour throughout. Every maybe half an hour, I go and check for 1 or 2 minutes and things like that. And if my alert comes, then I have to go and do some adjustments. But apart from that, it is peaceful. But with Bank Nifty, if I short straddle, I have to be continuously on my screen, right? If I cannot take a loop break also. So that doesn't happen over here. So that way, if you look at the effort, like if you look at the input and the output, then I will feel it is more rewarding because for lesser efforts, it is giving me the same rewards what equity is giving me for comparatively higher efforts. And there are very less adjustments also in this, like sometimes we just have to take an SL and get out. Sometimes we'll have to do some adjustment. But apart from that, it is much more peaceful. Whereas in Bank Nifty, you will if you are in straddle, you will have to do some adjustments or get out, but in strangles, you'll have to continuously go on doing adjustments because it gives so much moves. So that way it is comparatively, it gives me, comparatively more peace for the same returns generation. And since I'm reusing my capital, then for me, it will be 4+4 or 5+5, both from equity and crude. After I started crude, okay, so crude, I can say it has very less risks and yields moderate rewards. Whereas with equity, I can say risk is also high, but the returns are still moderate. In crude, the risk is less, but the returns are moderate. Then with natural gas, after crude, I started trading natural gas. So the point when I thought that I'm quite comfortable with crude, and I don't need a lot of active monitoring. I have reached that level. I have devised those adjustments and strategies. Then I moved on to NG. So with NG, it does need a lot of active monitoring because it can hit upper and lower circuits on the same day. And with NG, so with crude, generally what happens is either it will be sideways, or if it gives a trending move, most of the times it will be a one-sided move. But with NG, what happens, it gives a two-way, three-way moves like V shape, W shape, N shape, all those things happen with NG. So it needs a higher monitoring. Also, its premiums will be higher than crude. So most of the times it will be at least 1.5 to 2 times of crude. The range which it offers for the premiums on straddle. So it will be generally 1.5 to 2 times of crude, and means 15 to 20% minimum for straddles. So it does require active monitoring because it is riskier, and that's the reason you are getting such high premiums in NG. And you can get 1% easily. So the way we discussed, okay. So if you look at 1% daily in NG, you will think it
but
is
what
next
is
to
the
impossible.
straddle premium you get in natural gas?
Sir,
So,
I'm
15 to 20%.
I'm seeing I'm seeing right now it is at 215 rupees spot is, and the April month premium on call side I'm getting 12 rupees and put side 28 rupees. That means how much? 40 rupees.
20%.
20%.
20%, which
that's
is
what I'm
huge.
saying. Minimum 15-20%.
मेरी लाट टपक रही है, मेरी लाट टपक रही है.
अरे सर,
सर वही सब पता होना चाहिए आपको.
Wait, there is more to it. And the margin to do this straddle is only 56,000 rupees, in which this premium which you will receive, that is not included. So
in Finvesha I see it taking around 1.1 lakh for.
नहीं, Finvesha में पहले दिन ज्यादा आता है, next day credit आता है, तब कम हो जाता है.
I'm seeing it in.
नहीं, वो क्या होता है, Finvesha का जो फर्स्ट डे मार्जिन पूरा आता है और नेक्स्ट डे जो है मार्जिन को एडजस्ट करके फिर कम हो जाता है. तो एक्चुअल मार्जिन 56,000 ही होगा जो आप बोल रहे हो नेक्स्ट डे क्रेडिट आने के बाद.
बट सर मैं तो इंट्राडे में ही स्क्वायर ऑफ करती हूँ ना, इसलिए
तो नेट मार्जिन हो गया, क्रेडिट एडजस्ट करने के बाद का नेट मार्जिन 56K होगा.
ऐसा होगा.
एक्चुअल विल बी 100.
चलो देख लेंगे, उसको देख लेंगे.
ठीक है. तो आई वाज जस्ट कमिंग टू दैट पॉइंट कि क्रूड में जनरली जितना आपको प्रीमियम मिलता है स्ट्रैडल में, एनजी इज 1.5 या 2 टाइम्स ऑफ दैट रेंज. तो क्रूड में अगर 10% आपको मिला कोई मंथ में, तो एनजी में आपको 15 to 20% मिलेगा रेंज. तो दैट वे प्रीमियम्स आर हायर. If you look at it, if you think कि 1% every day means it is next to impossible because it will be 22% in a month. But if you look at it this way कि अगर 1.1 लाख मुझे लगता है एक स्ट्रैडल शॉर्ट करने को, ठीक है, तो 1.1 लाख का मेरा 1% कितना होगा? So 1.1 लाख का 10% मेरा होगा 11,000. तो 1% is just 1,100. तो अगर वो 1 पॉइंट भी मुझे डीके मिल गया दोनों साइड से 0.5 रुपी, मतलब 1 रुपी डीके मिलेगा. तो 1 रुपी डीके इज 1250 रुपीज. तो इट इज इजीली मोर देन 1%, राइट?
But when you have 15 to 20% premium, then in a month it can vary. See, now when we were talking just before start of this presentation, that even equity like State Bank of India or Reliance, they have fallen more than 10% in a month. Okay. Similarly, here when you get 15 to 20% premium at the money, so what is the maximum fall you have seen or up in a month.
Sir, so natural gas is very risky. The way I told earlier, अभी ये 2-4 महीने कभी 600 के अराउंड भी था natural gas.
क्या था 600 क्या था?
600 के रेंज में भी था. I am just telling.
अच्छा स्टडल प्रीमियम.
नहीं नेचुरल गैस का प्राइस अभी जैसे 215 पे है ना.
अच्छा.
तो it was around 600 also.
Percentage how much it fell or it went up in a month?
Sir, in December it was 540 rupees on 19th December, and it keep falling. On 22nd Feb it was 163 rupees. So from 533, you see it has gone down to 163, and after that it is consolidating.
Yeah. So that is the only reason it gives higher premium, because there is a very high risk.
इसमें बड़े ट्रेडर क्यों नहीं है, ये जो पीआर सुंदर टाइप और जो अपना ये जो बड़े बड़े लोग हैं जो 1-1 लाख करते हैं?
तो ट्रेड सर टाइम भी होना चाहिए ना.
अरे
टाइम का तो है, बट उनको उनका बाकी का ट्रेनिंग और ये वो उन सब चीजों के लिए भी टाइम चाहिए ना.
Absolutely.
और अगर वो इतना हायर मार्जिन
533 to 163 means it almost 300% it has fallen.
Yes.
चलो इस पे स्टडी करते हैं, इस पे एल्गो लगा के देखते हैं. राकेश जी एल्गो ट्रेडर लगा लेते हैं इसके अंदर.
It is like corona time crude.
एल्गो ट्रेडर में जो है वो हर 5 रुपए पे वो अपना स्पेयर करेगा फ्यूचर को.
No, I know PKG must be thinking about RDCS in this also.
मैं सब सोच रहा हूँ, everything I'm thinking now.
And you have worked in natural gas. Natural gas department he has worked. He was
what is the stop loss you are keeping?
In natural gas, generally 1 point I keep as a stop loss. Like 1 point, matlab it's around 1% only, 1250 rupees. या फिर max hard stop can be around 2000 rupees per straddle, and target I don't keep. Like in crude as well as NG, I don't keep target. In anything I don't keep target. I always go on trailing my SL, because I think target is something you cannot define. It is given by market. I have seen crude giving even 3,500 on a particular day, and it gives as less as 500 also on some days. So that's why I don't keep targets, because I want to ride till whatever amount it is giving me. But I do have SL in place for everything: Nifty, Bank Nifty, crude, and
one more question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Finvicia allows you to till 11:30.
Yeah, it allows you till 11:55 dot. Because I don't take position in MIS, since the margin is same, right? Whether you do it in MIS or in NRML, I do it in NRML, but just you have to make sure that after taking the position you don't fall asleep. Otherwise it will get carried forward. Even if it gets carried forward, there is not a lot of huge gap up or gap down, but I don't carry it, and I always take it in NRML and I square it off.
In normal and MIS?
No, brokerage is zero anyways in Finvicia, and
Madam, do we get
will still be
time?
the same.
Do we get time to exit in upper circuit, lower circuit?
In upper circuit, okay. So in upper and lower circuit, okay, I'll tell you 2 points. So first is with futures, if you look at whenever there is an upper circuit or a lower circuit that's hit, there are still a few contracts which keep trading. Okay, so that is one. Second is whenever there is an upper or lower circuit that's hit, after 15 minutes it does open. And I have seen, like, say for example, if in NG it has hit a lower circuit, afterwards it opens. After opening, it doesn't immediately fall and go to the next lower circuit. The way it happens with stocks, right? With Zeal or other stocks, Adani and all. So it doesn't happen like that. After opening, it trades very well for maybe 1 hour, 2 hour. After that, it can go and hit another circuit. So back-to-back circuits are not there. So that's why you can get very easy exit. And sometimes even after hitting a lower circuit, it bounces and it comes up and it can go to upper circuit also. So it's never the case that you will get stuck. But yeah, at what price you will get exit, that can vary. Like sometimes it will be lower than the circuit level. Sometimes it will be higher than the circuit level. And one more thing I wanted to highlight, the way I mentioned earlier, I watch the futures and I take decision basis that, but I always trade options. Like I'm primarily non-directional options trader. So I do very less futures trading. And if I do it, it'll be for less than half an hour, like kind of scalping only, you can say.
Ma'am, like in Nifty, if we carry forward the position, the losses or profits are also carried forward. So is it the same in like crude oil or commodity as well?
Yeah, it's the same.
Till expiry, it will carry over, na? Till expiry.
Yeah, you can carry over till, okay. So there are some brokers like Finvasia. I don't know about any other brokers, but with Finvasia, you cannot take position on the last day of expiry. You cannot create new position in options contract on the last day of expiry for both crude and NG. But with Angel One and Kotak Securities, IIFL, all of those, you can take positions on the last day also. Finvasia will allow you to square off the existing positions on the last day, but it will not allow you to take a new position on the last day.
That's a good also, no? Okay.
हाँ, it depends. मतलब कभी-कभी last day में जैसे expiry day तो पता है ना, निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी के लिए तो बड़ा event होता है. So that way, हाँ, अगर आपको करना है तो then you have to look for another broker. और एक problem I will just highlight since we talked about Finvasia. तो by exchange itself there is a restriction कि आप एक specific time say for specific time नहीं, मतलब आप अगर ऑप्शंस में ट्रेड करते हैं इन स्टॉक ऑप्शंस और कमोडिटी ऑप्शंस, यू कैनॉट ट्रेड एट मार्केट लेवल पे आपका ऑर्डर नहीं जाएगा. ओके, इट विल आस्क यू टू प्लेस अ लिमिट ऑर्डर. विद फिनवेशिया आल्सो दैट्स द केस, बट विद एंजल वन, विद कोटक सिक्योरिटीज, इट डज अलाउ यू टू प्लेस मार्केट ऑर्डर्स. आई डोंट नो हाउ दे डू इट, बट फॉर बोथ this thing, but for crude and NG options they do take market orders, and that's good for me. मतलब थोड़ा सा slippage रहेगा, but it is even then it is a good option because कभी-कभी क्या होता है ना, आप एक लेग पे मार्केट ऑर्डर मतलब लिमिट ऑर्डर एग्जीक्यूट करने जाते हैं, तब तक वो अगर सडन मूव आ गया ना तो दूसरा लेग बहुत ज्यादा मूव हो जाता है तब तक, तो then you know it is problematic. So that's why initially I started trading in Finvasia only with this crude and NG options, but बाद में मुझे बहुत issues होने लगे because I have to place trades every time. और अगर मुझे कोई adjustment करना पड़ा तो you just think I have to exit the existing call put, तो वो 2 orders place होंगे, फिर मुझे एक new call put भी लेना है तो और 2, तो 4 orders मुझे अगर simultaneously place करना है तो बहुत ज्यादा slippage आ जाएगा अगर मैं सब लिमिट ऑर्डर लगाते जाऊंगी तो. और क्योंकि एडजस्टमेंट भी तब भी करना पड़ता है जब बहुत बड़ा मूव आ रहा है, और इतने बड़े मूव में अगर आप 4 लिमिट ऑर्डर्स डालते बैठोगे तो मतलब आपका पीएनएल तो बहुत ऊपर नीचे हो जाएगा. तो देन आई मूव टू अदर ब्रोकर्स व्हिच आर गिविंग मी दैट फैसिलिटी दैट आई कैन प्लेस मार्केट ऑर्डर्स इन ऑप्शंस. तो वो एक चीज है, लाइक इफ यू आर डूइंग मल्टी लेग स्ट्रेटजी, व्हाटएवर इज द अंडरलाइंग, वेदर इट इज स्टॉक ऑप्शंस और कमोडिटीज, you just make sure that you know you have that market order.
Is it possible to do algo, and if it is, then which platform?
Algo actually मेरा राकेश जी से बात हुआ था, we were thinking around algo for this, but अभी ये मतलब डेवलपमेंट में ही है, अभी तक हुआ नहीं है फाइनल. और एक चीज है कि मतलब if you have your own rules for stop loss, targets and other things, then you can explore other platforms also like TradeTron and all.
But next week पे next Saturday को एक एल्गो का वो करवा रहा हूँ मैं, एक एल्गो इंडिकेटर करके सूरत का कोई कंपनी है. So they are giving on platform wherein they are charging 2 rupees per order.
Okay.
2 rupees per order वो चार्ज करते हैं. They are not charging anything else. तो मैंने उनको बोला तुम डेमो दो, अगर अच्छा होगा तो हम देखेंगे.
ठीक है. तो
last week or so Zoom में that stocks
का भी 750 स्टॉक्सों का 750 वाला है, 750 पर मंथ है. ये 2 रुपया पर ऑर्डर की बात कर रहे हैं. तो we'll have this 2-3 डेमो and then we'll see कि कौन सा अच्छा लगता है, कौन सा चलता है, then we'll decide. तो मैं करा रहा हूँ.
अल्गो ट्रेडर का भी करो.
एल्गो ट्रेडर का तो हमारा वो बेसिक वो बाई सेल वाला है, वो तो खैर बढ़िया है ही है, खैर वो तो मैं यूज करता ही हूँ मैं. तो अभी कराते हैं, 2-3 कराते हैं अभी. विल डू इट. ठीक है.
एल्गो ट्रेडर में तो उतना कस्टमाइजेशन नहीं होगा ना पुठाई जी, जैसे मैं आपको हॉर्स राइडिंग भेजा था ना, वो तो कर नहीं कर पाएंगे ना वहाँ पे.
नहीं, एल्गो ट्रेडर तो बेसिक है, बाई सेल है उसके अंदर. तो वो 5 रुपए ऊपर जाएगा, वो आपका सेल करेगा, नीचे जाएगा बाई करेगा, वो सिंपल स्ट्रेटेजी है.
ठीक है, अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है, नेक्स्ट वीक हम लोग देखेंगे, then those problems which I share with you now will be really solved, and everybody will be benefited.
So we'll explore all this platform and then we'll decide. और अभी हमारे ये मिश्रा जी ने जो बनाया ना वो भी बहुत अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है, ये जो बेस्ट ऑर्डर टूल वाला है, दैट्स आल्सो वर्किंग वेरी वेल, तो उसका भी एक जो है वो रखूंगा मैं वेबिनार, तो करते हैं। देखो
which one that सूरत वाला है?
नहीं सूरत वाला, एक तो सूरत वाला हो गया, एक अपना रविंद्र मिश्रा का जो है ना, जो .net में उन्होंने बनाया है बेस्ट ऑर्डर वाला, सो दैट्स आल्सो वर्किंग वेरी वेल, मेरे सारे स्टूडेंट उसी पे काम कर रहे हैं अभी, तो वो भी बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहा है।
What is that? I didn't get it.
अरे वो बेस्ट ऑर्डर टूल है, सो it doesn't allow anybody else to trade till your order is
मिश्रा जी, no?
हाँ मिश्रा जी वाला है, हाँ तो वो वाला भी ऑलमोस्ट हो गया है।
टाइटल दे दो मिश्रा जी वाला बोल।
तो वो एक हो गया।
Madam, I wanted to ask you, when you say that you can integrate it with the algo, that means your strategy is totally based on some SOP, standard operating procedure. Otherwise, how can you link it?
Right, that's what I was saying कि मतलब क्रूड के ऑलमोस्ट हो गए हैं SOPs फाइनल, बट एनजी के आई एम स्टिल डूइंग इट बिकॉज एनजी आई स्टार्टेड ट्रेडिंग आफ्टर क्रूड, और एनजी में थोड़े मूव्स भी वाइल्ड होते हैं, तो आई हैव टू स्टिल गेट सम हार्ड कोड रूल्स फॉर दैट. इवन इन क्रूड आई हैव सम, बट लेट्स सी, आई एम ट्राइंग टू रिफाइन देम.
एक वेबिनार इनका रखने वाले हैं, एक वेबिनार करेंगे इनका जिसमें सारी स्ट्रेटजीज के ऊपर होगा, तो दैट मे बी पेड वेबिनार, सो आई विल जस्ट डिस्कस विद हर. तो इक्विटी के ऊपर और दोनों के ऊपर एक इनका वेबिनार रखवाएंगे सारा स्ट्रेटजीज के ऊपर. तो शी इज अ वेरी सॉलिड स्ट्रेटजीज पे काम कर रही है, वो पैसिव है बट बहुत सेफ वाली है, तो वी विल हैव अ वन वेबिनार ऑन दैट मे बी विद इन अ वीक और 2 वीक. या करेंगे इसको.
अभी क्रूड और एनजी का ना आई हैड सम रूल्स, बट अभी ये मिनी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आ गए हैं ना फिर से मिड मार्च से, और लिक्विडिटी भी थोड़ा सा ज्यादा हो गया उसकी वजह से, और उसकी वजह से ना प्राइस मूवमेंट भी थोड़े से अलग हो गए, तो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम स्टिल चेकिंग, मतलब थोड़ा और रिफाइन करने का, क्योंकि चेंजेस आते रहते हैं, तो यू हैव टू कीप रिफाइनिंग, सो आई एम जस्ट डूइंग दैट. तो पीपीटी तो एंड हो गया है, बट आई विल जस्ट शो यू द साइट so that people can go back and start exploring. तो ये MCX का साइट है, we don't have any site.
इसको बंद कीजिए पहले, इसको ये वाला शेयरिंग बंद कर दो.
ओके, हाँ एक मिनट I will just share my screen. We'll just a moment, there's somebody at the door, just a moment.
तो राकेश जी काम करेगा ये
सर? कौन सा?
नहीं ये जो नेचुरल गैस और क्रूड ऑयल पे कुछ काम करेंगे?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir, she has got very good, as she mentioned, we had a discussion. She has got very good, skill set of making money out of, all these non-directional strategies. She is very good at it.
Acha, very good.
Okay, so I will just show you the site. The way I mentioned earlier, मतलब resources नहीं है natural gas के लिए. You only have 2 options. One is you have to go to MCX site itself, and second is you have to go to your own broker terminal and check. Is my screen visible and am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे ही आप अगर जाओगे ना, तो यहाँ पे ही सारे ऑप्शंस हैं. If you check over here, मार्केट डेटा में आपको मिलेगा. अगर जैसे हीट मैप हम लोग इक्विटी में देखते हैं, वैसे हम लोग यहाँ पे भी देख सकते हैं. बेसिकली आप NSE की साइट पे जितनी भी चीजें करते हो, मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर अवेलेबल हियर ऑल्सो. प्रोडक्ट्स में आप जाके देख सकते हो, अगर गोल्ड में नहीं, जो भी है, यू कैन रीड अबाउट दैट प्रोडक्ट ओवरव्यू वगैरह, वो आपको देगा. यहाँ पे भी वो सब दे देगा जो स्लाइड्स में कुछ चीजें जो कवर्ड थी, फैक्टर्स जो इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं, ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो दैट इज देयर. अगर आपको ऑप्शंस भी देखना है तो वो भी आपको यहाँ पे ही मिलेगा, ऑप्शंस डेटा. जस्ट अ मोमेंट, लेट मी चेक. तो ये एक मिनट, तो ये एक ही साइट है बेसिकली. और या फिर अदर ऑप्शन है कि आप जो ब्रोकर के साथ ट्रेड करते हो, यू कैन गो बैक टू दैट ब्रोकर एंड यू कैन चेक ओवर देयर कि क्या है.
ब्रोकर का तो बहुत खराब होता है, MCX से अच्छा रहेगा लगता है. ब्रोकर का डेटा तो इतना अच्छा नहीं
ये
होता है.
यहाँ पे देखो ऑप्शन है, यू हैव टू सिलेक्ट व्हाटएवर यू वांट. ये देखो, ये यहाँ पे आपने देखा ना 3 months का दिखाता है.
3 months ही है.
हाँ, एंड देन यू कैन गो एंड क्लिक ऑन शो.
बट लिक्विडिटी केवल अप्रैल में ही है.
हाँ, लिक्विडिटी सिर्फ करंट मंथ में ही होता है।
हाँ दिखाइए एक मिनट, ये अच्छा ये आपका एटीएम ऑफ 5700 ना?
हाँ
तो इसमें 1534 का ओआई खड़ा हुआ है।
राइट, और ये 17 अप्रैल को एक्सपायर हो रहा है, तो इट इज अराउंड 20 days ओनली।
अच्छा अभी वो दिखाइए, मे वाला दिखाइए, मे वाला। ओ मे में तो कुछ भी नहीं है।
No,
कुछ भी
no,
नहीं है, मैं
no
वही बोल रही हूँ ना,
RDCS
लिक्विडिटी नहीं
नो
होती।
आरटीसीएस पॉसिबल। जून विल बी
I
जीरो है।
wanted to see May. Yes.
जून विल बी जीरो है।
Yes, 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 yes.
मैडम अभी आप कौन सा ब्रोकर यूज करते हैं जो मार्केट
मैं
ऑर्डर डालने को?
एंजल वन कर रही हूँ अभी फिलहाल।
ओके
Madam, broker shows future chart and we take in options.
नहीं, ब्रोकर शोज ऑप्शंस चार्ट आल्सो ना, ऑल ब्रोकर्स विल शो ऑप्शंस चार्ट। मतलब जैसे इक्विटी में सब में मिलता है ना आपको स्टॉक ऑप्शन के चार्ट्स, वैसे ही यहाँ पे भी मिलते हैं। तो दिस साइड इज वेरी,
वो आई चार्ट में दिखेगा सभी, आई चार्ट वाले उसमें
नहीं नहीं नहीं, मैं बोल रही हूँ ना कि कोई भी सॉफ्टवेयर आपको नहीं देता है एमसीएक्स का डेटा।
अच्छा आई चार्ट में भी नहीं है?
नहीं है, नहीं है।
करेंसी का तो है, करेंसी का तो है।
करेंसी का है अलग से।
अच्छा व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन, व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन करेंसी वर्सेस कमोडिटी?
करेंसी आई वाज डूइंग, बट मैंने ना थोड़ा सा फोकस यहाँ पे चेंज कर दिया था, क्योंकि यहाँ पे मुझे अच्छा रिटर्न्स आ रहा था। वंस आई एम स्टेबल और ये स्ट्रेटजीज अगर फाइनल होंगी तो देन आई विल एक्सप्लोर अराउंड करेंसी अगेन। अभी फिलहाल यही है, मतलब इक्विटी में मैंने 1-2 स्ट्रेटजी सेट की है, देन आई मूव टू कमोडिटी, उसमें थोड़ा सेट करेंगे, देन अदर इंस्ट्रूमेंट। पहले मैं एक साथ सब करती थी और मेरा कुछ भी होता नहीं था, इसलिए।
अच्छा
तो दिस इज अ वेरी गुड साइट, whoever wants, you can just go here and explore. I will just show you an example because I have to end this like in another maybe 2-3 minutes. Actually the reason is we had come out and we have to check out at this hotel at 1:30.
Okay.
So ठीक है, so I will just show you one. So ये क्रूड ऑयल है फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एंड आई सिलेक्ट दिस एक्सपायरी। आई विल नॉट सिलेक्ट अप्रैल क्योंकि ओके लेट्स सिलेक्ट अप्रैल।
यहाँ तो सितंबर तक अवेलेबल है। अच्छा वो क्या है?
विल जस्ट सी लेटर, बट वैसे भी लिक्विडिटी नहीं है सर, मतलब कभी तक का भी रहेगा, वी कांट डू एनीथिंग। तो ये क्रूड ऑयल का मैंने ऐड किया कंपेयर में, देन आई एम चेकिंग एंड एडिंग नेचुरल गैस, सेम एक्सपायरी का अप्रैल का, ऐड टू कंपेयर। ठीक है, आप देखोगे ना ये ऑलमोस्ट मिरर इमेज है एक दूसरे के, तो इनका दोनों का इनवर्स रिलेशन है। अगर क्रूड राइज होता है तो एनजी फॉल होता है, एनजी राइज होता है तो क्रूड फॉल होता है, जनरली ऐसे होता है। तो इसी में लोग मतलब अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढ के कभी कभी पेयर ट्रेडिंग करते हैं। आई डोंट डू इट, बट आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू दैट इनसाइट। तो जब वो दोनों साथ में रहेंगे, जैसे ये पॉइंट पे बोथ आर एट द सेम प्लेस ना, दैट टाइम यू कैन गो एंड इनिशिएट इट, बिकॉज यू नो कि इन दोनों में डाइवर्जेंस आएगा। So things like that. So whoever wants, you can just explore and hover around this site. इसमें बहुत सारा डेटा है, एंड आपके पास कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है। ब्रोकर टर्मिनल में इतना सारा नहीं है, तो यू जस्ट हैव दिस वन साइट wherein you can go and rely on.
अगर जैसे मंडे को हमें कोई पेपर ट्रेड करना है मान लीजिए, तो कौन सा हम ट्रेड लें?
आप यही स्ट्रैडल्स ही कर दो ना, आफ्टर द यूएस मार्केट ओपन्स। हाँ
अच्छा,
बोथ एनजी एंड ये।
ओके।
तो मैडम स्ट्रैडल कितना, मतलब अगर करंट प्राइस चल रहा है उससे कितना दूर पर स्ट्राइक प्राइस पे स्ट्रैडल करना चाहिए?
नहीं, स्ट्रैडल एट एटीएम ओनली, स्ट्रैडल इज ऑलवेज एट
But paper trading option में you can do this MCX?
नहीं, no software gives you any paper trade, no tracking, no charts of straddles, nothing. तो इसीलिए इसमें ज्यादा टाइम लगता है, because you have to observe and do everything. The more time you spend, you'll get an idea.
you have historical data?
Ma'am, just an update.
नहीं,
In
I
OPSA
don't have.
Securities, OPSA का जो अभी नया प्लेटफॉर्म है ना, with Definite Securities, वहाँ पे अवेलेबल है।
अच्छा, वो मुझे नहीं पता था।
अच्छा।
मैडम एट दी मनी पे
वो तो वहाँ तो ट्रेड करना पड़ता है ना, वो तो ट्रेडिंग के लिए है।
हाँ, तो इट इज बोथ द थिंग्स ना, आपको खाली मॉनिटरिंग करना है तो भी आप कर सकते हो, वहाँ पे वर्चुअल ट्रेड भी डाल सकते हो,
और आप ट्रेडिंग भी कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, ट्रेडिंग भी कर सकते हैं।
अच्छा
मैडम, ये जो एट दी मनी पे अगर हम सेटल करेंगे तो इसका जो पुट और कॉल का डिस्टॉर्टेड रेशियो आने से कोई इशू नहीं है ना?
नहीं, इतना ज्यादा डिस्टॉर्टेड नहीं होगा।
जी अपन क्या करें, हिस्टोरिकल डेटा निकाल लेंगे इसका 1 साल का, एंड देन we'll try to compare कि क्या प्राइसेस चलते हैं।
मैंने हिस्टोरिकल डेटा तो नहीं निकाला, बिकॉज आई डोंट बिलीव इन बैक टेस्टिंग। आई जनरली डू लाइव टेस्टिंग विद स्मॉल लॉट्स, तो दैट वे ओनली आई have done till now for this.
Okay.
मैडम ये सैटरडे संडे भी चालू रहता है ना?
नहीं बंद रहता है. It is also Monday to Friday only.
Okay.
Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock to 11:30, 11:55. Correct. Okay. चलिए क्वेश्चंस है तो ले लीजिए because she has to leave for another 5 minutes.
I will just
one second, Putar ji. One more thing is in commodities.
एक मिनट बोल दी मैडम को. हाँ मैडम क्या?
नहीं मैं ना जैसे यहाँ पे PC लॉग ऑफ कर रही हूँ. I will just go down and in another 2 minutes I will log in from phone because we have to check out. So I will just come back in 5 minutes. I think it is.
Thanks a lot to her. In fact,
okay, madam. Thank you, madam. No problem.
नहीं you go आराम से जाइए.
नहीं ठीक है. I will see if there is network. I will just log in. But I am logging off from here.
Okay.
Take one more lecture on strategy next time.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, bye.
अच्छा बाकी लोगों का क्या व्यू थोड़ा बताइए इसके ऊपर. अभी तो हमारे लिए तो बिल्कुल ही ये मतलब वो है काली भैंस के बराबर.
I was mentioning one thing, Kothari ji. Yeah. That is in the NCX, actually, when the NSE is having a complete holiday on some days, you will see that you see the holiday list. Even those days, MCX is working from 5:30. They have a half day on those days.
Acha.
Yeah. Okay. So those days when you're really free, you don't have anything to do in NSE. You can focus on MCX.
Okay. लेकिन इसमें आपने किया है क्या ट्रेड? Are you trading in this?
I do something, but I have not devised any strategy, so I might be interested in what she has.
अच्छा. और बाकी किसी ने कोई strategy?
I've taken money, I've lost money, so it's very risky.
क्या what is the trade?
In buying, it requires only 25,000 to 50,000 only for one lot in option. And at 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock, there is always one move. When European market opens, then on buying or selling side, you get a move and you can make out 1,000, 2,000 or up to 3,000 per lot.
नहीं अगर हम कवर्ड कॉल करें तो कवर्ड कॉल मॉर्निंग में फ्यूचर ले लें और कॉल बेच दें तो क्या होगा?
सर मार्जिन ज्यादा लगेगा.
मार्जिन लगेगा वो ठीक है वो चलेगा, लेकिन कॉल ले लिया और फ्यूचर मतलब फ्यूचर ले लिया और कॉल बेच दिया और इवनिंग में आके दोनों को एक्सपायर कर दो तो व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ मेकिंग मनी?
वो तो मैडम को पूछना पड़ेगा.
अच्छा
कोतारी जी.
हाँ
मैं ये सेम है ना. मैं क्या करता आप डे टू डे नहीं क्या, मैं जनरली सिल्वर मिनी का मैं क्रूड में तो नहीं, सिल्वर मिनी मैं फ्यूचर ले लेता हूँ, कॉल बेच देता हूँ 2000 पॉइंट आगे करके. आप बोल रहे थे ना दिन में उसमें सिल्वर में गोल्ड में तो बिल्कुल लिक्विडिटी नहीं है. गोल्ड में तो बिल्कुल करने की जो लिक्विडिटी बिल्कुल जीरो ऑलमोस्ट नील है. सिल्वर मिनी में है बट क्रूड की तरफ नहीं है. सिल्वर मिनी में आप 2000 पॉइंट करें, कभी कभी 50 पॉइंट से 100 पॉइंट का भी वो स्प्रेड होती है. तो इसलिए आप इंट्राडे में तो ट्राई नहीं कि मैं जनरली पोजिशनली करता हूँ. फ्यूचर में ले लेता हूँ, देन 2000 पॉइंट जाके आगे कॉल पे देता हूँ. देन कभी कभी चाहिए तो 2-3 हजार नीचे पुट पे देता हूँ. देन कवर्ड कॉल की तरफ ही किया था. इसमें रीजनेबल रिटर्न आ रही है बट स्लोली आएगी, बट कोई इतनी महंगी नहीं है. सिल्वर मिनी का 35,000 40,000 चाहिए आपकी कॉल बेच देते हैं ना, देन आपकी 40-50,000 ये सो प्रीमियम ज्यादा नहीं है. बट हाँ 40-50,000 में पर मंथ मुझे 2-3 लास्ट 3-4 में 3 में किया था, मुझे 5-6 हजार मिल जाती है एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में. क्रूड में मैं सेम ये किया था बट मुझे तो क्रूड में इतनी सक्सेस नहीं मिला. मैं स्प्रेड भी किया था, नेकेड कुछ नहीं किया. मैं कॉल बेच दिया, 2 कॉल बेच दिया, देन ऐसा कुछ स्प्रेड किया था. उसमें मुझे कुछ नहीं हुआ. नेचुरल गैस भी किया. कभी कभी है ना वो प्रीमियम लास्ट दिन तक रहती है. मेल्ट इतनी आसान से नहीं होती. आप स्प्रेड करते हैं, बटरफ्लाई या कुछ करते हैं, इतनी आसान से नहीं होती है. बट हाँ आप इसमें कितनी भी ऑप्शन स्ट्रेटजी है वो सब कुछ कर सकते हैं इसमें, क्रूड में और गैस में. बट हाँ ये रिस्क तो है, वो इवेंट बेस्ड रिस्क इसमें ज्यादा है. तो हमारे इक्विटी में है उसके हिसाब से इसमें भी उतनी है. बट हाँ कैलेंडर आप बोल रहे थे ना, RDCS कैलेंडर फॉर मंथ में इतनी नहीं है. उस मंथ की फॉर मंथ मैं भी देखता हूँ. फॉर मंथ सिल्वर में कोई लिक्विडिटी नहीं है. सो आप RDCS ऐसा सोच रहे हैं, कैलेंडर बेस्ड को सोच रहे हैं, उसमें बहुत ही रेयर चांस है आपकी कुछ इतनी लिक्विडिटी मिलेगी. सो करंट मंथ स्ट्रैडल स्ट्रैंगल वो हो सकती है, इंट्राडे स्ट्रैडल और 930 स्ट्रैडल की तरह कुछ हो, वो सब हो सकती है, बट 930 स्ट्रैडल सारे इसमें करने में ये है अचानक ये लोअर सर्किट काफी बार आ जाती है, उस दिन नीचे आया फटाफट ऊपर चले जाती है, सो रिस्क उसमें इतनी आप बिल्कुल हेजिड नहीं है तो रिस्क ज्यादा है इसमें।
And you cannot, and you don't have can we have through ETF in Nifty in our NSE versus कॉल सेल here? मतलब वहां पे हम सिल्वर बीज खरीदे हैं या गोल्ड बीज खरीदे हैं और इधर हम ये बेचे, तो ऐसा हो सकता है कुछ समथिंग लाइक दैट? आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? कि हमने वहां पे सिल्वर बीज ले लिया, इक्विटी में ले लिया 1 लॉट के बराबर, और उसका क्वांटिटी का मैं यहाँ पे जो है मैं कॉल शॉर्ट करूं मैं, तो वो कर सकते हैं क्या?
इतना प्रॉफिट नहीं होगा सर इसमें, क्योंकि क्या है, जैसा कि मैडम ने बताया कि जो डायरेक्शनल मूव वगैरह रहते हैं ना, जो केवल 3-4 घंटे में ही आते हैं, मतलब you what you can say start monitoring everything in the evening when US market opens, and by 1 hour or 2 hour you are going to get the money. So in commodities na, it is scalping that is going to work. ये आपकी जो diagonal credit strategy वगैरह जो है ना, इतना मतलब रिटर्न नहीं देंगी आपको एज कम्पेयर टू दैट। और वो सिल्वर भी वगैरह जो है ना,
नहीं, मैं दूसरा लॉजिक बता रहा हूँ। मैं क्या बता रहा हूँ कि सपोज आपको गोल्ड खरीदना है, ठीक है, अभी आप गोल्ड को इस प्राइस पे नहीं खरीदेंगे, ये प्राइस अभी बहुत ज्यादा चल रहा है, बट व्हेन द गोल्ड गिरता है नीचे काफी, या सिल्वर जब काफी गिरता है, तो धीरे धीरे करके आपने गोल्ड बीस या आपने बैंक बीस का एक लॉट इकट्ठा कर लिया। अब उस लॉट के सामने, उस लॉट के अगेंस्ट में आप जो है यहाँ पे ये कॉल शॉर्ट करो इसका।
हाँ कोतारी जी, कवर्ड कॉल की आप सोच रहे हैं वो सब अलाउड है, बट सिर्फ इसमें एक ही इशू है, बिकॉज हम तो 3:30 बजे हमारा ये बंद हो जाती है, तो रात 11 बजे होती है ना। तो आप बोल रहे कवर्ड कॉल, मैं उसके हिसाब से किया था, कोई सिल्वर बीस कुछ खरीद के निकले, मैक्सिमम 3 लाख रुपए होती है, 5 किलो सिल्वर मिनी, मतलब 5 किलो सिल्वर है, सो 3 लाख के करीब होती है। अभी तो थोड़ा महंगा हो गया, अभी 62-63,000 था उस समय। आप वो कर सकते हैं, मैं इसलिए उसके वजह मैं फ्यूचर लॉन्ग कर लिया।
फ्यूचर लॉन्ग कर लिया।
अच्छा, इसलिए आप बोल रहे कवर्ड कॉल वाला बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं इसमें हर चीज।
अच्छा सर, ये इसके अंदर इतना ज्यादा प्रीमियम है, जैसे ये 20% है नेचुरल गैस पे और इस पे, तो आप सब लोग जो लोग ऑलरेडी ट्रेड कर रहे हैं कमोडिटीज के अंदर, तो डू यू हैव एनी स्ट्रेटजी वे टू मेक यूज ऑफ दैट स्ट्रेटजी एंड एक्सप्लॉइट दिस, ये eat up करने के लिए?
Sir, I tried using option strategies, but option strategies usually don't work in commodities because theta day के बहुत कम है। मतलब अगर एक्सपायरी का डे है ना, आज शाम को एक्सपायरी होने वाली है, फिर भी उसका प्रीमियम इतना नहीं गिरता, मतलब जितना निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी का रहता है उसमें। Till the end there is some kind of what you can say hope, and it is always there, like there is some kind of manipulation कि वो बराबर उसी रेंज पे ही क्लोज करते हैं, मतलब उसके दूसरे दिन से उसका मूवमेंट शुरू होता है। तो अगर आप कॉल सेल करते हैं या फिर कोई स्ट्रेटेजी यूज करते हैं, तो उतना फायदा जनरली नहीं होता है, मतलब एज कम्पेयर टू निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी, बट डायरेक्शनल स्ट्रेटेजीज ऑलवेज वर्क इन कमोडिटीज, एंड इट इज मोस्टली व्हाट यू कैन से डिपेंड्स अपॉन ग्लोबल इवेंट। मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल जो फेड का रेट का ये था कि पावेल ने बताया कि मुझे रेट इंक्रीज करने ही पड़ेंगे, so it has spiked the gold and silver rally. Silver at one point of time जो इंटरनेशनली $20 पे मतलब अवेलेबल था, तो आज उसका रेट 23 पॉइंट समथिंग है। So it has almost given say 15 to 16% रिटर्न इन 1 मंथ, 15%, ठीक है, और अभी भी ऊपर ही है। और अगर अभी ये पॉलिसी चेंज होगा, कुछ तो भी ईजिंग होगा, सो इट विल मूव आउट ऑल्सो। तो मैडम ने एकदम सही बताया कि गोल्ड इज निफ्टी एंड सिल्वर इज बैंक निफ्टी, सिमिलरली क्रूड इज निफ्टी एंड नेचुरल गैस इज बैंक निफ्टी। नेचुरल गैस और सिल्वर में बहुत ज्यादा वॉलेटिलिटी रहती है, और क्रूड एंड गोल्ड इज व्हाट यू कैन से यू कैन ट्रेड इजीली, मतलब इतना मूवमेंट नहीं रहता, और वन साइड मोमेंटम भी नहीं रहता, मतलब। But strategies, according to my experience, generally do not work in say commodities. Similar strategy, you have to make something else.
There is one more point in commodities, that is the charges. See, the charges for one entry, whether it is future or options, can go up to 250 to 300 rupees for one entry in exchange.
कैसे?
The charges, you know, the brokerages and other STT and all those things. It's very high.
No, but it is not there, sir.
फिनोमेशिया में तो जीरो है ना?
फिनोमेशिया में जीरो है, और या फिर पर लॉट 20 का रहेगा, आप कितने भी लॉट ले लो 20 ही रहेगा, मतलब बहुत सारी जगह पे चार्जेस नहीं है सर इतना, मतलब इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन योर ब्रोकर। इफ योर ब्रोकर इज व्हाट यू कैन से ट्रेडिशनल ब्रोकर, तो फिर उसके लॉट साइज के हिसाब से अगर ब्रोकरेज रहेगा तो बहुत ज्यादा है, क्योंकि लॉट साइज ही इतना हो जाता है।
No, I am on
Madam was
fires.
telling
Fires
it's
में भी बहुत ज्यादा होता
Angel
है।
One, no? Angel One, I don't know how much they charge.
No,
She was
sir. Yeah, I'm very sure it's not there. It's not very high. अगर ट्रेडिशनल ब्रोकर है, for example, 0.20%, 0.25% on delivery or something like that charge, then it is high. Otherwise, charges नहीं है।
Per lot basis.
पर लॉट बेसिस पे ही रहता है ना, फिर कितने की कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैल्यू हो जाए, 20
देखो
रुपीज
स्ट्रेटेजी तो बताइए यार, ये तो सब लोग चलो ठीक है, ब्रोकरेज तो फिनिशा में इशू नहीं है। इफ एनी सक्सेसफुल स्ट्रेटेजी इज देयर देन इट इज वर्थ ट्राइंग, अदरवाइज डायरेक्शन में तो ज्यादा बहुत प्रॉब्लम है।
अरे कोतारी जी, ओनली कवर्ड का लिए इसमें सिल्वर में और सिल्वर उसमें बेस्ट है। उन्होंने रघुनंदन ने बताया, बिल्कुल मैं भी क्रूड में किया था, लास्ट दिन तक कोई मुझे टीका नहीं मिला। और इस बार अभी करंट एक्सपायरी हुआ था गैस का, उसमें कुछ नहीं हुआ। 180 का मैं 180 का कॉल खरीद लिया, 190 का 2 बेच दिया, 200 की कॉल खरीद लिया।
एक मिनट रुकिए, जो आपने पॉइंट बोला ना, अगर मान लो कॉल में थीटा डीके नहीं है तब तो बहुत अच्छा है ना कवर्ड कॉल के लिए।
हाँ वो कवर्ड कॉल
वेरी गुड कि मेरे को उतना प्रोटेक्शन मिल रहा है ना नीचे का।
नहीं कोतारी जी, सिल्वर में आपकी कवर्ड कॉल कर सकते, क्रूड में इन्होंने
सुनिए एक मिनट अभी आपने क्या बोला कि कवर्ड कॉल के अंदर कॉल का थीटा डीके लास्ट मोमेंट तक नहीं होता है, ठीक है। इसका मतलब ये है कि मेरा फ्यूचर का प्रोटेक्शन मेरे को पूरा मिल गया। मैंने फ्यूचर लॉन्ग किया और कॉल शॉर्ट किया, मान लो मुझे कॉल का प्रीमियम मुझे मान लो मिला 20 रुपए, तो 20 रुपए का प्रोटेक्शन मुझे अप टू द एंड मिलेगा। सो दैट्स वेरी गुड, मैं तो कहता हूँ बहुत अच्छी बात है ये। नहीं तो नॉर्मली इक्विटी में क्या होता है, इक्विटी में तो वो कॉल का डेल्टा होता है हाफ और फ्यूचर का डेल्टा होता है 1। तो अगर आप बोल रहे हो कि यहाँ नहीं होता तो बहुत अच्छी बात है।
नहीं वही बोल रहा हूँ कोतारी जी, इसमें आप फ्यूचर ले लेंगे, उसमें 2000 पॉइंट करके आप कॉल बेचेंगे, 1000 रुपए मिलेगा।
हाँ,
तो 1000 रुपए का आपको प्रोटेक्शन मिल रही है।
तो बहुत 1000 रुपए का 2000 का मिलेगा ना तो पूरा।
हाँ 2000 प्लस 1000 रुपए, बिल्कुल सही है। 63,000 की मैं फ्यूचर लिया था, 65 के कॉल बजे 1000 रुपए की, देन 2000 प्लस 1000, ठीक है बिल्कुल। हाँ
तो वो तो बहुत अच्छा है ना।
3000 मतलब
थीटा डीके नहीं हो रहा है, इट्स वेरी गुड।
3000 मतलब 15,000 रुपए है, बट हाँ ये स्लो प्रोसेस है, बट हाँ इसमें मार्जिन इतनी नहीं है, डाल के छोड़ देंगे।
ऊपर जाएगा तो 2000 का फायदा हो गया, नीचे जाएगा तो आपको 2000 का प्रोटेक्शन मिला।
2000 नहीं है, 1000 की 5000 रुपए आपकी प्रॉफिट है। तो 3000 क्या 15,000 रुपए हो जाएगा, 45,000 आपकी कैपिटल है।
राइट
आप डायरेक्शन सही है। तो
बहुत होती है कि स्टॉप लॉस हंटिंग बहुत ज्यादा होती है। स्टॉप लॉस हंटिंग अगर आप स्टॉप लॉस रखते हैं ना, तो मोस्टली मतलब आपका स्टॉप लॉस लेके वो आता है। मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल आपका व्यू बेरिश है, तो आपने थोड़ा सा मतलब नीचे का स्टॉप लॉस लगा लिया।
नहीं तो अपन डायरेक्शन क्या लगा रहे हैं, डायरेक्शन नहीं कर रहे हैं ना अपन, तो ये कवर्ड कॉल कर रहे हैं। कवर्ड कॉल में तो कोई चक्कर ही नहीं है ना, उसमें मेरे को स्टॉप लॉस लगाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है मेरे को।
हाँ तो फिर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मतलब इन दैट सिनेरियो योर कैपिटल इज देयर, आई गेस इट विल गिव यू बेटर रिटर्न्स।
अच्छा चलो एक बार ट्राई करके देखेंगे, ट्राई करके देखते हैं।
सो आई जस्ट केम बैक, मतलब किसी को कुछ क्वेश्चंस होगा तो।
नहीं कीर्ति ये क्वेश्चन था कि सपोज आपने जो है फ्यूचर ले लिया,
हाँ,
और फ्यूचर के अगेंस्ट में कॉल शॉर्ट किया आपने, और कॉल का प्रीमियम का आपका डीके इतना नहीं होता है,
हाँ,
तो वेदर दिस स्ट्रेटजी विल वर्क।
नहीं मैं बोलती हूँ कि यहाँ पे मतलब इफ यू आर बाइंग फ्यूचर एंड शॉर्टिंग कॉल, तो उससे अच्छा आप फिर पुट ही ले सकते हो ना। दैट इज अ गुड ऑप्शन दोनों जगह पे, क्योंकि आपको मार्जिन के लिए भी
नहीं, इसमें मैं ओटीएम कॉल शॉर्ट कर रहा हूँ।
हाँ तो मतलब आप आईटीएम पुट ले सकते हैं फिर। वैसे
आईटीएम पुट लेने से नहीं, इशू ये है कि मैं आई वांट टू टेक द एडवांटेज ऑफ द फ्यूचर गोइंग अप एंड द फ्यूचर इज गेटिंग प्रोटेक्टेड बिकॉज कॉल का प्रीमियम इतना गिर नहीं रहा है। तो कॉल में अगर मुझे 2000 रुपए मिला हुआ है, मान लीजिए कॉल को अगर 2000 का प्रीमियम मिला, दैट मींस कि मेरा फ्यूचर 2000 रुपए तक नीचे तक मेरा प्रोटेक्शन मिला हुआ है, बिकॉज कॉल में थीटा डीके नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है। और ऊपर जाएगा तो मेरे को 2000 रुपए का वैसे ही आपका फ्यूचर में फायदा हो गया, और नीचे में मुझे प्रोटेक्शन मिला हुआ है 2000 तक। सो वेदर इट विल वर्क,
नहीं वो थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा वेदर इट इज वर्किंग और नॉट, बिकॉज मैंने बोला ना कि मैं डायरेक्शनल नहीं करती हूँ, और मैंने किया तो भी मैं वो हाफ एन आवर मतलब स्मॉल ट्रेड्स होते हैं स्कैल्पिंग टाइप्स।
अच्छा
ऐसा वाला वर्क करेगा क्या, वो देखना पड़ेगा।
So Kirti, let me rephrase. So the question was that people who are already doing in this group, they are of this opinion that the theta decay, major theta decay doesn't happen till the expiry. So we were, kind of discussing that what strategies we can do in this. So
Okay.
that's where this covered call has come in.
Okay. No, I got the point, but I'm not so sure about it because then you need to have some directional basis and all, na? So I generally don't have that. I'm bad at direction.
नहीं, डायरेक्शन बेसिस में इशू ही नहीं है ना. I have bought a future. I bought a future along with I have shorted a OTM call. That means कि I am a bullish also, I am a bearish also. Okay. Now downside I'm getting a full protection because theta decay is not taking place till the expiry. Only on the expiry date the major theta decay come.
Okay.
Correct. So that means the downside protection is there. Now if the gold goes up or your silver goes up, then I'll book the profit and then I'll exit.
हाँ.
कॉल में तो मेरा लॉस होगा नहीं क्योंकि कॉल में थीटा डिके नहीं हुआ है.
सर उसमें मेजर प्रॉब्लम है कि
I would recommend कि ना ये थोड़ा पेपर ट्रेड करके ही देख लेंगे.
हाँ, वो तो करना ही पड़ेगा.
हाँ, क्योंकि मैंने भी कभी ये मतलब उस एंगल से ऑब्जर्व नहीं किया है. मैं जनरली ऑप्शंस को देखती हूँ तो
ओके.
डोंट अबाउट इट.
ठीक है. हाँ बोलिए राकेश जी क्या बोल रहे थे?
नहीं मैं ये कह रहा था सर बिकॉज ये कमोडिटी के अंदर है ना जो वी डोंट नो एक्चुअली. अभी तो बहुत टाइम से गोल्ड और सिल्वर आफ्टर कोरोना ऊपर ही जा रहे हैं. बट वी हैव सीन के मतलब जैसे अभी ये नेचुरल गैस का देखा अपन ने पिछले एक महीने का 540 से सीधा 165 आ गया. तो उस केस में कवर्ड कॉल में फ्यूचर लेके अपन फंस सकते हैं.
हाँ ये वाला बात तो है ना. या तो उस वाले का राइट. वो बता ले कॉस्टिंग से भी नीचे घुस गया.
यस इट इज पॉसिबल.
अच्छा. लेकिन आपका ये क्या नेचुरल गैस 540 से 215 आ गया है एक महीने के अंदर?
हाँ यस इंटरनेशनली एट वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम $10 पे था. $10 से लेके आज $2 पे आ गया. मतलब तो 80% डाउन फ्रॉम द.
ये तो मेजर फॉल है यार. मतलब इसमें तो अगर स्ट्रगल किया तो फंस जाओगे पूरी तरह से अगर आप निकले नहीं बाय इवनिंग.
और नेचुरल गैस की बात ऐसी है कि 15 साल पहले $2 को मिल रहा था, आज भी $2 को ही मिल रहा है. मतलब देखो ऐसी चीजें.
वो नेचुरल गैस का तो वही हाल है.
बीच में मूवमेंट बहुत खतरनाक देता है दोनों साइड. जैसे मैडम ने बताया नेचुरल गैस हैज द टेंडेंसी टू हिट द अपर सर्किट एंड लोअर सर्किट ऑन द सेम डे. मतलब एक दिन में अपर सर्किट एक दिन में लोअर सर्किट एक ही दिन में करा सकते हैं.
तो फिर आपको पुटी खरीदना पड़ेगा. हेज करना है तो करना पड़ेगा. यस यू हैव टू हेज योर पोजीशन. नेकेड पोजीशन नेचुरल गैस विल गिव यू लॉट ऑफ लॉस एज वेल एज लॉट ऑफ प्रॉफिट. अच्छा.
नहीं एक्चुअली वो नेचुरल गैस उसी प्राइस रेंज के अराउंड होवर कर रहा है. बट वो रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर की वजह से ना बहुत बढ़ गया था क्योंकि तब वो गैस सप्लाई नहीं था ये वो इसीलिए वो ऐसे हुआ था. वरना वो वही 200 के अराउंड ही घूमता रहता है.
तो नहीं आता तो इसको.
ओके. चलिए और किसी क्वेश्चंस वगैरह हैं? एनीबॉडी हैज एनी क्वेश्चन ऑन द प्रेजेंटेशन?
नो.
तो आपका नेक्स्ट वेबिनार कब करेंगे आप कीर्ति जी?
सर मैं मतलब मुझे ना थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मैं स्ट्रैटेजी भी रिफाइन कर रही थी और प्रेजेंटेशन वगैरह भी सब बना रहना. एटलीस्ट 2-3 वीक्स तो लगेगा मोस्टली.
अच्छा. ओके. So we can't have on the next Sunday, huh?
No, we can't because I want to give a fully baked cake, not a half baked one.
अच्छा. Okay. चलिए. So then we'll finish it on now. Thanks a lot, Kirti ji.
If anybody has any questions, you can take. Otherwise, we can finish.
Thank
you. Very nice efforts that you have put in.
Yeah. नहीं थोड़ा बेसिक्स क्लियर हो गए. आपका पीपीटी थोड़ा शेयर कर देना जो माइनर करेक्शन करना है.
हाँ राइट. Once I reach, I will share it definitely.
Okay then. Thank you very much, Kirti ji. Excellent presentation as usual. आपका पहले वाला तो जबरदस्त था ही था. ये भी उतना ही मतलब एनरिचिंग है. Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.